Search is over, now welcome to First Mint. Looking for NFT content, look no further cause this is it. From Top Shot to blockchain, they got the data chops, analysis, and pack drops, the show's equator hot. LG and Phil D, the best amongst others. Best brothers that happen to ball since the Ball Brothers. So settle in cause it's time for the best show. Ayo Quad, who we reppin'? First Mint. Let's go.
Hello.
Whoa. Hey,
I have a question for you right before we start. When we wrap up on these, do you have to piss like crazy?
No, I have the craziest bladder ever. I in my family, I'm like the rock star of bladder. I can hold it for like 10 plus hours. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I don't know what it is.
That's a road trip dad response right there. That's somebody who has to drive to like freaking Montreal 6 hours and is like, we're not stopping even to pee. That's that kind of comment.
But if I do break the seal, then I probably have to stop every time there's a road stop on the side. But it's a matter of not going the first time. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's fair. Yeah.
What about you?
That's a good point.
I have a feeling you run right to the washroom and you have to unload.
I do, and that's the thing, because I like to hydrate during the workday. But that's actually a good point. I should stop peeing like hours before the show so that I don't have to pee as bad by the end of the show. Because usually I run to the bathroom before we start recording. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I can go a while. But then I'm drinking water as we're going. So then it's just ready to burst. But that makes sense. Yeah.
That
Practice
brings
the abstinence of peeing.
That reminds me of that bar. And I know you know this because you live there. But in Montreal, okay, they had a bar on Crescent Street where you pay $15 to get in. They put one of those like club bracelets on your wrist. Okay. You know, those bracelets that you can cut off, kind of made of paper. You get them at resorts and stuff like that. And they let you drink for free at the bar until you have to take a piss. So you drink as much as you can. And I think it was like beer and something else only. It's not like unlimited shots. Unlimited shots, you'll never have to go pee, right? No. But it was like pitchers of beer were
you'll pass out before you need to pee.
That's right. Exactly. You're not peeing on shots.
You won't survive.
It was
unlimited you won't remember peeing. You won't remember peeing like on the sidewalk or wherever it is if it's unlimited shots.
Exactly. And it was unlimited beer with, I think you could get rum and Coke, things like that. Okay? And they'd always give you a huge one. And the minute you had to go into that washroom, even if you said just to like check your face out, no, sorry, you're going in here. We're cutting that bracelet off. Now you got to pay for your drinks. And I remember people like discussing strategies of like wearing like Depends and diapers and things. So like, nah, man, we're just gonna piss our pants. And we're just gonna. I'm serious. This is group friend conversations. Before we go there, some people were thinking of putting diapers on so they could take a couple of pisses in there. But can you imagine, like at that age, you're trying to pick up girls and stuff, and you've taken a couple pisses in your diaper? That's disgusting, man. Like what? I'd rather pay money than piss in my diaper to get free drinks for the rest of the night. Like, who cares? Right? Like, how much were drinks back then? It wasn't even that much. But
no, it was like $2, especially in Montreal, it was like $1, man. It's like super cheap. It still is. Montreal is one of the best for any Americans out there. Montreal is one of the best places you could ever go party. You're going to get a huge discount. You can go drink there when you're 18. Now that I think we have a lot of 18-year-old listeners, but it's a fantastic spot. One of the only places in Canada that's still not expensive. Well, unlike the rest of the places where it's like
you don't have to be 18
any bar.
But if your kids are 18 and they're so between 18 and 19, 20, and they're telling you that they're going to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. For a quiet weekend with friends, don't believe them. Okay.
Or a senior trip, right? Because some kids are 18 already in their 12th grade.
Oh, that's
right. And it's like seniors trip to Montreal. They're going to get wasted. That's what they're doing.
Only place you have to be 18 in North America, or you only need to be 18
it's
in
true.
North America.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's it's the lowest drinking age in North America is Quebec. So explains a lot too. So it's all we're going to say about that. And you know what's funny, Phil? I mean, I don't really think that you talking about peeing in your pants and stuff is nostalgic. Although if you think about Billy Madison, it is. But you know what? I got a lot of good feedback last week about our trip down memory lane, about our grandfather's house and all the weird organs and shit that there were there. And I think people are digging the nostalgia talk. I don't want to force it, but I think we're bringing stuff up that people haven't thought about in a really long time.
So what's your nostalgic thought of the week? What do you got?
Oh, what's my nostalgic thought of? I don't have one.
I thought you had something you were going to throw at me.
No,
no.
It's going to organically come up. No, we're going to start. No.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen in today's show. We're going to start talking about the NBA. We'll talk about the Heat and the Nuggets. Carmelo retired. We'll talk about Top Shot. And then at some point in the middle of that, you're going to drop some nostalgic bomb that takes about 15 minutes to explain that happened in like 1996. Okay. Like that's just how these things are going to go. It's going to be like, you remember Carmelo in 1999 and Phil's going to talk about the frosted tips he had at the time, like something like that.
I had no idea Carmelo was even still in the league. Okay, first of all,
well, he didn't play this season.
Came and I'm like, when the hell's the last time we saw this guy?
Well, I think even at the end of the season, he was waiting to be signed to maybe the Lakers or another championship contender, but it didn't happen. I've always thought Carmelo was kind of overrated, and I'm not taking away from him being like quite good during his peak years. But he's never somebody that I felt like your team had to be like afraid of. Like, sure, he could bury you in like the middle of the season, but his team's like, did he ever even get to the conference finals? The Knicks? I don't think.
I don't know. I don't think so. LeBron constantly the last couple of years said it is a disgrace that no team wants to give this guy a shot. But that's LeBron being a good friend. Like that's his banana boat buddy.
Yeah, right? Of course. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he'll say that about any of those guys.
Yeah.
But those guys are fading, man. That banana boat is fading right into oblivion these days. It's it's getting thin.
Yeah. And that is the now LeBron is the only player remaining from that draft class.
That's insane.
He's the only player left from the 2003 draft class, I think it is. 2003.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah, 2003. Yeah, so he's the only player remaining from that draft class, which is pretty incredible that he's the only guy left and still playing at a high level. I mean, that's obviously, basically what his reputation is going to end up being, I think, after a while, is that just being like an insanely freak athlete with tons of longevity, but pretty awesome, honestly, that he's still playing at that level. And you see the picture, there's a picture floating around earlier, I was trying to find it for the show, but of the top, like the first 15 guys or first 30 guys picked in that draft, and they're all wearing like their suits are insane. Like huge, like untailored suits. LeBron's got the white, which is the only guy wearing the white suit, which is really nice. But you know who's right in the middle of the photo? TJ Ford.
Oh my God.
Former Raptor.
The Raptors' very own. Yeah, that was in the early days.
Oh yeah. That was back in the era. It's like, okay, let's just keep drafting all these like super small point guards that are going to dribble between everyone's legs. Like just keep drafting the next Mike Bibby or whatever. Didn't work out.
I just can't wait to see if his son, Bronny Jr., ends up being the same kind of character. And by character, I mean the kind that when it's the off season, and you remember we went over this many times. Okay, when there was nothing going on in the NBA, LeBron came out and announced that he wanted to win a Stanley Cup. Okay, just to be the number one story on the news. Okay, he somehow ends up at the top of the news all summer, all the off season. He's always got something different going on. He opened schools for this. He's doing this and all that. Now this morning, one of the top stories was that Bronny Jr. had his prom last night, and I'm like, okay. And they were showing all these pictures. And I'm like, all right. They're like, what's the side story here? There is no side story. So he comes into the league, not next year, but the year after, with the same type of kind of attention where if he does anything, like he buys a different kind of pack of gum one day, they're going to be like, oh my God, he's switching things up. And that's got to be the number one news on ESPN. So I just found it odd. I mean, I don't know. He's still a kid. Like, I don't know that we need to be seeing his prom pictures. And kind of dissecting them, like his suit was nice. Like I don't even know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, but he does a lot of like ads and stuff. Like if LeBron wanted to shield him from that, he would have. He would have. You know what I mean? Like he could still be an excellent. He could still be an excellent basketball or like a good basketball player and LeBron's son, but not be as much in the spotlight as he is. But I think they wanted it. I think LeBron pushed him to do that.
Oh, he will be.
And that's the most exciting thing. And you know what's funny? Did you watch Carmelo's retirement video?
No, I didn't see it.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. I didn't click the button.
It's mainly about his son. It's really strange. Really? I was watching it, and it's all like, I was watching it on silent.
It's a promo video
this morning. Yeah, it's like a promo video, and it's based. It was like all his highlights of college and Denver and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, now to the next generation, and whatever his son's name is, like Chris or something. And he's like, Chris, he's the future. And it's all these like weird.
That is bizarre.
It's like video clips of his son like standing, like looking at the camera, all tough, and it's like, whoa, put a little pressure. Oh my god,
yeah, that's crazy.
Right, like that's a little extreme.
Well, I mean, it's the only time people will listen to him. Really, I mean, to be honest. Right?
No, for sure. I just thought it was a little weird that it's like, no, it's you can make this video about yourself. It doesn't have to be about your kid.
Is he good?
I don't know. I didn't even know he had a son who played basketball.
I didn't know
until
either.
I watched the video. I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, no, it's okay to celebrate you. Like, it doesn't have to be this next thing. Like, you're a good player. People really love you. You're a great scorer. Like, it's fine. Here's the photo. If you're watching on video. Goodness. If you're listening on audio, just type in 2003 NBA draft class photo. And here we go.
Ford, look at that.
Yeah, TJ Ford right in the middle. They stuck him right in the middle beside Dwayne Wade. And,
I could not name you all of these guys. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't name.
Yeah, that's a good challenge. Yeah. Okay, Phil, how many of these guys can you name? Who can you name? So there's let's do it together. There's Carmelo on the left.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh.
Where's Bosh? I don't see Bosh in here.
He's right beside. He's beside.
Oh, there he is. No, I didn't look up there.
He's behind Carmelo. Okay. Yeah, they look young and different.
I mean, TJ Ford, yes. Oh, what's his guy beside TJ Ford? What's his freaking name? This guy, man.
Darko? Was it Darko?
Not Dwayne. No, it was like Luke something. Oh. Man, I remember him.
Dwayne Wade's there.
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
Obviously Carmelo.
Who's between Dwayne Wade and LeBron? Who's that guy?
I couldn't tell you.
Let's
zoom in. Let's zoom in. Yeah.
Who's this guy?
I don't know.
Who the hell is that?
I don't know. Oh,
who are any of these three guys?
Buddy at the top there, right on the left. That's Oh my god! You got to pull up the list. It's gonna bother me now. We know some of these guys, man.
Who's this guy? That like, what's this? This guy's a black eye.
Okay, we know this guy though, but we know this guy, not him. That's oh my god! But the guy right there with the blue undershirt, we know him.
Yeah,
I forgot his freaking name.
Is that not Darko Milicic?
No, it's not. He was a crazy college player. This guy I don't know if it was Duke or. I think he played in Chicago. What the hell can I remember his name? We got to pull. You got to pull.
Kirk Heinrich.
Kirk Heinrich. That for Chicago, right?
Yeah, you're right. It is Kirk Heinrich. Yes, right.
Yes,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I just couldn't get his name.
Oh no, yeah, Darko's not. I don't think.
But at the top back there, we also know that guy in the brown suit. Yeah, we know these guys, man. We got to pull up a list.
And we know them, but dude, they're not.
I just can't pull up the names.
I just unknown freaking players, man. Anyways, if you guys want a good challenge, pull up that photo and see if you can name anybody outside of Chris Bosh, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron. Just have fun going through that photo because
we have to. Really, you know what, LG? If we ever go to like some kind of corporate event where we have to wear a suit, we have to get suits like that. Okay, every suit I have right now is like fesse serré. It's like your nutsack is like squeezed and like they go up to like almost the top of your ankles. Where you know the new style of not wearing socks with suits. That's the kind of suits that I have right now, where it exposes your ankle. And if you wear socks, it looks weird. And they're just fit differently, right? Like they fit perfect. They're really nice. But that style, like, look at that, man. Those are badass suits. They're huge. But you'd look like a freaking clown these days, right?
They didn't like taper the bottom of the pants. That's the thing. It's like these guys are big and they're wide, so obviously you need big wide suits. And it was a style back then to wear like baggy suits, but the bottoms of the pants aren't tapered or hemmed. So it's like literally like I don't even know how to describe what it looks like, but it looks so hilarious.
Yeah, we would look like idiots.
Actually, here this is actually like a bit of a beef that I have with like modern sports culture. I think players in the NBA and the NHL, they don't do it in any other league at all. There's only the NBA and the NHL do they show videos of the players arriving to the arena. You know what I mean? Like, and they're walking up and, it's always like Klay Thompson. He's wearing a weird outfit.
Yeah.
He's got his little man purse with him, rides up on his scooter or whatever he's doing, and that's like very normal. And they've done that for a long time. And NHL, NHL is all suits. It's suits no matter what. NBA is like whatever the fuck you want. Like Russell Westbrook literally walking down the, Paris Fashion Week runway when he's walking into the arena. NBA, I don't really have as big a problem. Like NBA has really emphasized that the players should be themselves. They should have personalities. They should go be celebrities. And that really works for the NBA. The NHL hasn't done that as well. And I think what's happened is the players are kind of stuck in between where they're trying to have some drip, if to use a modern term. They're trying to have drip. But it seems to me, it always seems like in the NHL, like they're too, especially on the Maple Leafs, because now we haven't talked about Maple Leafs in a while, and I'm going to dump on them a little bit more. To me, it seems like they're too focused on like trying to be these cool celebrities with like cool suits and cool haircuts and like all this style and shit. It's like, no, you're here to play a freaking game, man. I don't know. It bothers. I don't know why, but it bothers me. It annoys me that there's generally like emphasis on like
Mhm.
pre-game drip. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm not down with it.
It's a very, very Canadian thing that started a long time ago from the days we played hockey, LG. We're at the highest level of hockey for 5 or 6 year olds. You wore a suit, right? You always wore a suit, no matter what. And over the years, before Don Cherry got fired into the sun off of TV, he used to say, look at these guys. These guys would never play for me. They're not dressed properly to show up for a hockey game. You want to be a hockey player, you need to dress like a hockey player and show up at the game with the suit and tie looking good. He would always show these goofy players in like small places like San Jose and Anaheim, wherever there's no culture of hockey like that. They'd show up in their, I think it was Brent Burns was showing up in like no shirt on, these crazy chains, right?
Like it's a costume contest or something. Yeah, like it's some kind of fashion costume contest. I don't know.
I think drove him crazy. It drove Don Cherry crazy. Okay. Yeah. And he was like, what the hell, man? What is this crap? But then you have teams like the New York Yankees, right? No facial hair. They have to dress also properly to go to the games and things like that. So, it's a preference of franchise. But you're right. We started seeing it in the NFL. The NFL is a free-for-all just like the NBA. So if you ever see Russell Westbrook's outfits when he shows up at games, like he'll show up in like a stop sign. It's a Halloween costume.
Oh, yeah. Right? Here, let's pull him up. Yeah, let's take a look.
And then Von Miller with the Bills this year was coming in like in his little petite culotte every game, like nothing else. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just don't get it. So they know the cameras are on them. It's become a full-out fashion show runway, right? Going to these games. Yeah, Russ is out of control.
Here's Russ. Yeah,
show Serge Ibaka after, please.
No, here we go. Here's Russ. Here's some of the stuff Russ wore. Oh no, there's so there's a photo of Tim Duncan,
man. What the hell is this? Pull that picture up. Who's that in the dress?
In the dress?
Who is that?
I think that's PJ Tucker. That's PJ Tucker. Okay, so here's Tim Duncan dressed like a totally normal guy.
Look at
LeBron dressed in a suit, but the pants are shorts, and he's wearing big black boots with pulled up socks.
What in the world? Okay, the top was okay, but when you hit the bottom,
what the hell is going on here? We had a cool bag. Okay, Jimmy Butler. I don't even know what
Jimmy Butler these days can do whatever the hell he wants. To be honest,
yeah, this is before then. He's wearing like some kind of crazy denim outfit that has like all the fake paint on it. Remember when they used to sell pants and shirts that looked like they were torn up and had paint on them, but they charge you $1,000 for them? That's basically what Jimmy Butler's wearing, but he also has this like grandma robe on. Okay, who else? Paul George.
That's all right.
Looking like he's Jake the Snake or something, like he's showing up for a Jake the Snake homage. Okay, Russell Westbrook. This is pretty much
that's like a normal one. That's a
normal Russell Westbrook. Okay, here's another Russell Westbrook.
That's some kind of
sure
what's going on.
White Emperor.
Looks like Cruella de Vil.
Oh, here's Serge Ibaka. There you go.
No, you need the other Serge Ibaka, the greatest outfit of all time.
Here's Russell Westbrook. He's wearing like camo shorts, and he's not at a game though. He's not showing up to a game. He's out like just partying. So it's not.
This one. What's this? Who is this?
PJ Tucker. This is PJ Tucker.
I should have never been
wearing like an 80s ski jacket that's been turned into like a really ugly dress. Okay, here's Russell Westbrook, who honestly just looks like he's Natalie Imbruglia in the Torn video or something like that.
They're all dressed up like women in half of these. I don't understand.
Yeah, it looks like a women's like he's gonna be in The Craft or something like that, or he's in Hot or Wild Things, the movie. Like that's basically he's got like a white long t-shirt with a long sleeve underneath where there's like holes for his thumbs, and then he's wearing tight jeans, a little too tight around his crotch with holes in the knees, but then his belt is just a shoelace. And then he's wearing a beanie, but where the beanie is rolled up above his ears, so it's a tiny little beanie on top of his head. And then shoes. I'm pretty sure he's wearing Crocs. He's wearing Crocs.
The mailroom guy at my office, who I've long said, and I've known him for 10 years. I've said he could have his own show. He's more entertaining than Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, let's get him on, man.
Let's get him on our show. You don't want him on. You don't want him on. You'll lose the show in 2 seconds if you bring him on. He is the wildest person you'll ever talk to. His real life story is the most messed up story on the entire planet. He's the kind that attracts disasters. And we'd all be rich if I had submitted his name to MTV ages ago. Okay, because he cannot avoid disaster. Anyways, he always gets in trouble at work for having a shoelace around his waist as his belt. Because he gets pants that he finds from like his dad from like 80 years ago. And they're too big, but he's a cheapo, so he doesn't want to buy other pants. And he wraps a shoelace around his waist. He gets caught all the time. When his glasses breaks, he takes rubber bands and he rebuilds them to wrap around his ears with the rubber bands. He also gets in trouble with that. So I'm glad to see that his fashion sense is kind of leaking over to NBA players, and maybe that's what he should do. But anyways, yeah. Can you please show the Serge Ibaka? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
The scarf of the century.
The scarf,
right?
Oh, okay.
Serge
Ibaka
scarf. That is. I want a scarf like that. I've been looking for.
The giant scarf. Yeah, this was on the Raptors, wasn't it? This is back on the Raptors. This is like near the end of the Raptors. His Raptors tenure. Here we go. Amazing. There he is. There's Serge. The scarf that is literally
definitely
more than the length of his body, and he's 7 feet. Don't forget, so it's longer than the length of his body. Half
That's
the width
his grandma
of his body.
for sure. She's like, I know you're a big boy, so I built you a huge scarf. He literally did a 7-foot scarf.
Oh man,
but that's legit
good.
though. That has to do with Canada, right? You're playing in Toronto. There's always snowing here in the winter. I mean, it's legit. That's a good outfit. Did you hear about the rumored new head coach of the Toronto Raptors by any chance?
Oh, who was it that they were talking about today?
I knew this
who was it? Who was it again?
Steve Nash.
Oh yeah, Steve Nash. That's it. Yeah, Canadian legend. Canadian legend Steve Nash.
Oh
God.
I mean, but it doesn't.
What
matter.
do you think? What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
It doesn't matter, because if you're going to be serious in terms of contending, then you're going to acquire some superstars. You're going to be serious, and then you should have a serious coach. But if you're not going to do that and you just want to have fun the next couple of years, yeah, he's a great gimmick coach, right? Maybe he's a good coach. I don't know, but yeah, sure, why not? Who cares? Bring him in.
I mean, he was above 500 with the Nets, although that's not saying much because he had
wasn't
KD on. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I think it's really hard to just become a coach out of nowhere. Yes. And I'll say that. And I think that that's an error that a lot of legendary players, like Hall of Fame players, make, is they immediately become a head coach with no coaching experience. Wayne Gretzky did the exact same thing. He finished playing, and the first thing he did after he enjoyed a couple of years of retirement is he became the head coach of the Phoenix Coyotes. And that was an absolute disaster. But what he should have done is become like join the front office of a team, become an assistant coach, work his way up to being a head coach, because there's a lot to learn. You can't just transcend from being a player to just suddenly being a coach. I think a lot of other players have kind of learned that the same way, right? Like Jason Kidd's a really good example, who's bounced around the league, but hasn't really been able to kind of cut it as a head coach, but still in the conversation. Maybe now he has enough experience. All right. No, he's the coach. Who did he coach this year?
Dallas.
Dallas. That's it. Yeah. He was coaching Dallas, but still, not proven that he's a good head coach.
But that's the thing though, is some of the best head coaches of all time are guys that were players professionally, but not very good. Right.
Yeah.
And that for me probably translates a lot better, because maybe they were just built to be someone who studies really well, and they got that far because they learned the fundamentals really well, but it didn't translate because they didn't have the skill, right? Steve Nash, again, would be a nice little gimmick for the Raptors. I don't think it's going to happen. I truly believe the media started that one. No, nobody in the Raptors just don't leak information ever. You will never in Masai Ujiri's tenure ever find information that came out and leaked before it happened. Never.
Or it'll be incorrect. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors that go along, but rarely, if he's making
Kawhi was out of nowhere. It was no one.
Kawhi caught fire it was 2 days before there was a rumor about it, and then
really? I didn't even know that.
Yes, there was the Vegas odds changed on where was right, because that summer Kawhi was wasn't even a free agent, but he was the biggest player on the block, because he was, had this huge falling out with the Spurs, and everybody was wondering, where's he going to go? He was going to go to the Lakers, was the rumor, to join LeBron. Where's he going to go? And then, I remember out of nowhere, one day it broke that the Raptors were in the conversation, and it was 36 hours later, the trade was announced, but the Vegas odds changed. And it was I'm pretty sure it was Raptors, Lakers right there, 1-2 as the favorites right before. So it was only when it happened. You know what I mean? It wasn't rumored and then went away for a couple months and then came back, kind of thing. Who would you, out of everybody who's been interviewed or rumored to be associated, who would you choose out of anybody available, right? As well, because there's a lot of guys available.
But like I said, to me, it all has to do with the team. Are we serious about winning? If we're not, then I don't care who it is. Put anybody there until we figure things out. And now looking back, I'm like, okay, Nick Nurse had kind of played out his welcome here, but did he really? Are we going to find better than him? Right? Was it just the players not responding to him anymore? What's really interesting is he's still the head coach of Team Canada at the World Cup this summer.
That's right.
Yeah, which is bizarre because you always associated him with being the coach of Canada's only team and being the coach of Canada's national team, right?
Yeah.
And I was wondering if that was going to change now that he was gone Like, will his new team accept that? Is what I'm saying. Like, where it looks like he's going to the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to get him. Woj said today that the Sixers are also in play for him, and so is Phoenix. So he's obviously a very popular choice. And
I mean, yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't know. Do we want to swap coaches with Milwaukee? I don't know, man.
I don't know if we want Coach Bud here. Yeah, I don't know.
I
think you're right. I think for the Raptors, I think unlike those other teams that you mentioned, like Sixers, Bucks, Phoenix, it's like all three of those teams feel like they are right there. You know, like they're like, well, we're a championship contender. We just have to move pieces just a bit to the left or just a bit to the right, which is what often a new coach can do, is come and take the same pieces and kind of rework them a little bit, and it works, right? So, or add a trade or two. But the thing with the Raptors is like we're not right there. You know what I mean? Like we're not anywhere close. So like we have a lot of good parts, but we don't have a main piece. So unless that's about to happen, I think it's really hard to go for one of those coaches. And I think for a lot of those coaches, honestly, it would be kind of a step down. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Monty Williams wants to go to the Raptors to help a rebuild, not when he's been so close with the Suns, right? Like I don't think that's his first choice. Like I could see, maybe he'll go to Milwaukee or something like that, or to Philly.
Maybe when Joe Mazzulla gets fired in 2 days, we're gonna consider him.
Mazzulla with his. Did we talk about this last week? I think it only broke after that. Joe Mazzulla watches the movie The Town twice a day or something like that.
No, I think remember the movie. I think you told the Sandlot guys that.
Oh, really? Yeah. So
somebody mentioned Joe Mazzulla. Maybe you told me in text. I don't know.
Yeah, I told you in text. He watches the movie The Town, which is from 2011. That's with like Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner, where they're like bank robbers and they dress like nuns to rob banks. And Blake Lively's there, and John Hamm's the cop, and blah blah blah. And it's a good movie. It's very like Boston, and everybody's got Boston accents. But apparently Joe Mazzulla watches that movie once a day to inspire himself. And I love The Ringer dropped that like deep interview piece with him like the day the conference finals started, and they haven't won a game since. That's just like so hilarious.
It's really
awful, but yeah.
It's easy to blame him, but to be honest, man, it's they did well all year, and it's funny with Spoelstra. Nobody ever talks about him, right? Everyone associates the LeBron years in Miami to LeBron, but then you kind of forget about him. He's always in the mix, no matter what team he's got in front of him, right? And he's putting on a masterclass right now, right? So, but yeah, I don't know.
You want to talk experienced coaches, right? Like that is an example of like that is an experienced coach. And the other thing too is that like what are the longest tenures in the NBA right now for coaches, right? Like Popovich.
I don't know what Pop's doing. Pop just got
he'll probably
now with the number one pick. I mean, this is crazy, right?
I feel like they were grooming Becky Hammon to take over for him eventually, but then
what happened to her?
Won the championship.
What happened? Well, something just happened recently.
Oh, she got in trouble for like
something just happened.
She got in trouble. She was like for tampering or something like that, because she left. She was assistant coach for the Spurs and then went and coached the Las Vegas Aces for the WNBA, and they won last year, her first year on. Right. But she got fined like $20,000 for tampering or something like that, like a week ago. So I don't know what the deal is with that. It's something like that. But yeah, anyways, the long tenured coaches in the NBA, I think, are like fewer and far between, right? It's only Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr, and Eric Spoelstra that have kind of been around. The other thing too, Phil, is like right now, like, we were texting about this. It's Monday, May 22nd. The Lakers are playing game 4 in a half an hour, and Heat are up 3-0 on the Celtics. Everybody, as they've been doing for a month now, is talk about how incredible Jimmy Butler is, how everybody forgets every season how great he is, how fun he is, how unique he is. All his old stories of the famous Minnesota Timberwolves practice comes back up, and all the stories about him being young and being homeless, like all these, it's always like the deep dive piece. And he's playing with a confidence that is different than the confidence a lot of other guys. You know what I mean? Like it's like a no fucks given it confidence, where he's like, he honestly looks like he's having so much fun. Even when they're losing, he looks like he's having fun, and the whole team's having fun. Is there any team in the NBA that players want to play for more right now than the Heat? Given the culture, given it's like, well, they're back in the conference finals, might be back in the finals again. So that's 3 conference finals in 4 years. It's going to be 2 finals in 4 years, right? Or in 4 seasons. Are there how many other teams would you want to go to, especially as like a role key player, as like a free agent or something like that? Where else would you want to go than somewhere like Miami
South
right
Beach.
now, where the
Yeah,
South Beach, great weather, great vibe.
weather.
They're able to make people like Gabe Vincent into superstars, household names for the playoffs, right? Like that to me is, it's a good story in basketball. And it's also thinking about the free agent market and what's going to happen in the NBA this summer. It's like, that's an attractive place no matter what happens to them from here.
Well, if you watch the breaking news that Treaticus broke this morning with a crazy video where his face is in like some little draft board thing on a TV, he broke the news that the Miami Heat have 4 undrafted players on their team, right? No, but yeah, South Beach has always been a popular destination. The fan base is kind of weird down there. They don't really support all year, but when it matters, they show up and they support. That's just the nature of sports in that part of the country. And
that's not, but that might be preferable for some guys, right? It's like,
of course,
you don't want to play for freaking Toronto Maple Leafs where it's like people harass you at the store and shit. Like, no. Complain about you eating hot dogs.
The Heat were terrible in the last couple months of the season. We're talking awful. To the point where Jimmy Butler said, I'm fucking sick and tired of you guys. Okay. I'm sick and tired of playing with guys that don't want to win. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of playing where nobody wants to win on this team. And I'm like, oh, what a mess in Miami. And ever since he made those comments, it seems like the team just kind of said, all right, let's turn up here. I sent you that stat last night. Duncan Robinson, all right? The First Mint's very own Duncan Robinson that came on our spaces.
Former guest of the First Mint.
Former guest of the First Mint who
came on to talk about ballers.
And screamed ballers for us. Okay?
Screamed ballers wherever he was.
Became the Miami Heat's all-time three-point made shooter last night. And it's just like, hold on a second. What? Is this even possible right now? Like, what are we talking about here? I think he passed LeBron. The fact that it was LeBron is even crazy. But yeah, the Heat have no pressure on them right now. None. I would say all the pressure's on everybody else. They're even if they make it to the NBA Finals, which it looks like they will, because no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit.
They won't.
There still won't be pressure on them because everyone's going to pick Denver to win. Although, no, listen, the secret's out now. All right, there are people. I'm going to admit, the people will be picking Miami no matter what. Okay.
Listen,
right? You can't ignore them anymore.
Was it the start of the series the Heat had a 3% chance of winning the championship? Yeah. Or something like something insane. Like I think even last night the spread was still, what was it, like 6.5 for the Celtics or something?
Favored by a touchdown almost. Yeah, it's crazy. That's insane. And then you see that and you're like, well, wait a minute. All right, well, maybe somebody knows something where the Celtics are finally going to wake up. And then by the time most people tuned into the game, because it was on the weekend, the game was over. Right? Like nobody caught that game at any good point. There was no good point.
No,
it was over from the very tip of the game. It was over. So to me, it looks like Miami's unstoppable, but Denver looks the exact same. So both teams right now, and you should always go against what I pick, because I said Celtics and a week later, we're already done. My picks are done. I said Celtics would get there, and I said Lakers would get there. We're completely wrong. But Denver also looks like a team of destiny because they have Jokic, they have Jamal Murray, they have good players, a core group of guys that have been supposed to put it together for a long time now. Yeah. And the path is finally clear. But if I was Denver, I'd be like, man, I kind of wish it was anyone but Miami right now. I know it sounds stupid, but you'd rather slay one of the bigger name teams because for whatever reason, whatever it is that Miami's doing, it's working with everyone. And they're not just winning games. They are stealing games. They're coming from down like 10 in the last couple of minutes.
Demoralizing teams, man. Like the Celtics game was over last night. 6 minutes in. Like it was a competitive game for like the first half of the first quarter. And then the Celtics like literally just stopped playing. And that's not just because they, are kind of choking. It's also because the Heat are just that kind of team. Right. So they're just going to beat you in so many different ways. I'll also say what's interesting about the Nuggets is that I think they've been underdogs because obviously Jokic is like the least sexy superstar possible, right? So people it's just not someone people want to see him win, but it's not as interesting a story. Like he has no story. He doesn't say anything crazy. He's, it's just not the same thing, not the same allure. So, I think, and he has now played a lot of other stars in these playoffs, right? Second round, they played the Suns, and it was like, all right, here we go. Kevin Durant's in the Western Conference now. Watch out. Not even close. Now up against, the Lakers have really turned it on. Here we go. This is the Lakers team that was built. Nope. Nothing. Freaking nothing for the Lakers.
Garbage.
And the other thing too, every championship team needs as much as they need superstars, you need the best player on the floor, all that shit.
No matter what.
You also need
Yes.
random ass players on your bench to turn into superstars. And
Yes.
every team, like even the Lakers, that's what got the Lakers this far. That's what got the Lakers through the Warriors, was like Lonnie Walker and like all these other dudes that like suddenly performing incredibly well. That luck's run out for the Lakers. And I think a lot of Lakers fans are saying, was like, well, Murray can't play like that every night. It's like, yes, he can. He actually is good. They just haven't pieced it together. He's not some random role player off the bench. He's actually super good.
That's right.
And they didn't he wasn't in full form the last 2 years either, right?
Maybe
so
when Jamal Murray wins the NBA championship, they're gonna ask him like what the turning point was for him in the offseason. And maybe he's gonna say, I was at a Toronto Shooting Stars game enjoying my time. And a little girl came up to me and asked for a picture, and it angered me so much that I said no, and it fueled me for the rest of the season. If that happens, then we'll be okay with it. Now I need to find her and thank her for motivating me to play like I've never played before. But did you see Jokic's brothers? The only reason I watch Denver games is to see if they're going to rumble with someone. Okay, they are like stalkers. Both of them are as big as him. Okay, they're in the crowd at every single home and away game. And if you dare mess with him, they're coming down the stairs and looking for someone to fight. Yesterday, they got into it with Jack Nicholson. Did you see that?
No, I missed that.
Yes, or whatever the game.
2 nights ago, 2 days ago. Yeah.
And I thought it was joke. One of them was actually joking with him, but the other one took it really seriously and like kind of followed him into the tunnel, almost like you want a piece of this. I'm like, dude, that's Jack Nicholson. He's like 89 years old.
Yeah, you're gonna kill him.
You're 7'6", like 400 pounds. Like, no, there's no fighting Jack Nicholson. But that's just their background. That's their background from back home. It's a don't mess with me or my family or my brother. I don't care who you are. We'll take you down. Really, really entertaining to watch. And I think, you said it last week, you'd be just as excited for a Denver-Miami championship than you would be for Celtics and Lakers.
I think that's a way better story, honestly. And obviously it's easy to say that when they're both up 3-0, but I think that's way more interesting. Like we've seen LeBron win titles, we've seen the Celtics in the finals. Like let's put a bunch of players out there who have never won a championship. The only guy who's won a championship who's a starter or a key player on either of those teams would be Kyle Lowry. I think that's awesome. Like, let's make that happen, man. I think that'd be super fun.
Said it. He said, I know he's older now, but what Kyle Lowry did to my Miami Heat team in 2017 in the playoffs, I never forgot it. And in the offseason, when I was thinking of a guy
first round
that we needed to add, or not in the offseason, sorry, whenever they got him last year, a guy that we needed to add that, might not be regarded as what he used to be, but still has that championship heart and dog in him, it was Kyle Lowry. And we're not just talking about his play on the court. We're talking about just his presence off the court. He bothered me a bit when he was with the Raptors because, those times he flew down to watch Villanova in the national championship and he was missing practices and shit. I was just like, that's not necessary. So he kind of lacks like that. But he's the kind of guy that'll kind of, he has so much experience that you can tell these guys are feeding off of it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know what? I wasn't excited at the prospect, but I am now.
Obviously, as a Raptors fan, we're huge Kyle Lowry fans. We, by the time he left, it was like that was all we were about.
Yeah, he didn't do us any wrong. He's not like Kawhi.
No, and that's the main narrative now. And I'd love for him to see him get his flowers because obviously a lot of people see the Raptors championship as like, well, you got Kawhi and you won, and yeah, it's true, we did. But for him to help another team like that go to the title would be great. They'd put him in the Hall of Fame discussion, which would be super fun, especially considering he was kind of like this misfit player when he came to the Raptors, kind of journeyman, like has no home, has no kind of consistent style of play, and is out of shape. So that'd be a fantastic career transformation for him. So it'd be super fun to see that happen. And fuck the Celtics, man. Fuck Boston fans. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're gonna have people after you.
They win everything all the time. It's fine. Even if they have to blow it up with Tatum and Brown, just wait like 6 or 7 years. They'll have some other stars that they're going to the finals with. Like,
let me ask you this.
Just cyclical.
Let me ask you this. All right. Here's the deal. If one of these two teams that is down 3-0 is to pull off what's never been done before, who's doing it? Is
Lakers.
It the Celtics?
Lakers without a
really?
doubt. Yes. They'll get the help from the NBA. 100%. If there's anything like the NBA desperately wants, and I'm not saying LeBron isn't an amazing, legendary player, one of the greatest of all time, absolutely. The NBA absolutely wants LeBron to be that, and they'll do anything they possibly can to help him do that. So and I'm not saying they're literally going to help him win like every single quarter, every game. But if they can make it a series, right? If they can win at home tonight, which is not impossible, you just have to win in LA tonight. It's not hard. And they can somehow win game 5, and then it's a 3-2 series. I think you see a lot of calls go the Lakers' way. I think absolutely.
I could see that.
The NBA would love it. Oh, LeBron. Of course, LeBron is the only player to ever bring a team back from 3-0. Oh, wow. Add that to his freaking cap, like I think absolutely they do it. And sure. And I think also equally, he is the player to do it as well as the league would want him to do it. That's my take on it.
Have you seen Lakers fans turn on LeBron? I'm like, hold on a second. Okay, it's happening in our Discord. All the Lakers fans are like, well, he sucks.
Trash.
He's the worst. If he wasn't here, we'd be champions already. I'm like, hold on a second.
Always, man.
Do you think any of these players like AD would be on this team if LeBron wasn't here? Do you think you'd be where you are without LeBron? I don't care how he's playing right now. Yes, they need to change how they play if they want a shot in the series, which I think is too late. But okay, come on. Seriously, let's be honest here. The guy's 38 years old, all right? And he still has an impact on the game. But I get it. There is a negative impact because he tries to do too much sometimes. But let's be honest, Lakers fans, you would not be here without LeBron. And I'm not just talking about his play on the court. We're talking about everything, okay? His presence, his demands to make the team better, all that shit. You just wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have a good team. I don't care what you say. Skip Bayless earlier, who annoys everybody with his tweets, and I'm only mentioning him because I did not find out the stat until he posted it. He said 8 times in the history of the Lakers have they been down 3-0 in a series. 8 times in their storied history. Not once did they ever win game 4 in those 8 times. But then he says they've been swept every single time. So every time the Lakers in their history have been down 3-0, they've been swept. He believes that tonight that changes. So you take hot takes as you wish. I mean, I don't really get it because he bashes LeBron the entire year. I don't know if he's trying to jinx the whole thing. I don't know what he's doing, but that's pretty interesting, right? That's an interesting stat with all the historic teams they've had. That when they go down 3-0, it's almost like a fuck it attitude, nah, we're done. See you later, right? We'll see. It's interesting because I find that Denver is the least likely team to allow a team to come back like that, right? Out of Miami and Denver.
Sure, yeah.
But but that's where I don't know. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't see either team having a single shot. I just don't. But it would be very LeBron, but very NBA, very legacy of LeBron to be the first to pull this off, right? You know what I mean? So,
but all I'm going to say is
the league will help them. No doubt.
Yeah, the league will help them, but also say it's like I think at this point the NBA playoffs have proven this year, and you said this a month and a half ago that every year we say it's the craziest year ever, and then you said it, and then a week later you're like, this is the craziest year ever. Listen, a week ago, how much money would you have if you had wagered that the Nuggets and the Heat would both be up 3-0 in each series? That would be one of the most unlikely bets that you could put your money on. So what I'm saying is that you have to be even with that it's like as much as that has been a surprise, I think at this point when the result continues to completely surpass your expectations and be totally different, you have to assume that whatever you actually think at this point has the chance to be incredibly wrong. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And that's what makes sports so incredibly fun is that nobody could have predicted this outcome. And I think even what happens from here is also really hard to predict for the exact same reason. Even if right now we're all saying it's a sweep. Both series are done. Imagine saying that a week ago. You'd be insane. That's a crazy thing to say. So it's, you know what I mean? What changed? Oh, they won 3 games. That doesn't, it's one game at a time, so I still think a lot can happen. But hey,
what about the connection? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say the connection. It's wild right now because South Florida has always been regarded as like a terrible sports place. Okay. It's beautiful to live. The athletes love playing there, but it sucks for the fans in all sports. Okay. And right now, you've got the Miami Heat 1 win away from the NBA Finals, and the Florida Panthers of the NHL are now 2 wins away from the NBA Finals or the NHL Finals, Stanley Cup Finals. And I saw Jimmy Butler wearing a Matthew Tkachuk jersey at practice. Okay? And did you know that Matthew Tkachuk, who's been a mega star in these playoffs and always has been?
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Did you see his picture, his high school picture with Jason Tatum?
Yes.
How is that even possible? And they actually look like regular kids. They don't look like these preppy mega athletes.
No, they're like
They
11
look
or
like
something
just-
like that.
just
they're,
two
they're
jokers.
kids. They're not even high school. It's like middle school. Like they're
whatever
children,
it is.
basically.
What
Yeah.
are the odds of that? Like,
And they're like filming themselves on a phone, like making some kind of weird like rap video. It's so funny, man. And I guess they're at some kind of like special prep academy or something like that.
Oh, okay.
together.
So that would make more sense. If they're at a prep academy, it would make sense that two become,
I think so. I think they went to some kind of
stars in the
sports
sport.
academy
Okay.
or something like
Okay.
that. I don't think
That
that
makes
they just
sense.
happen to be unless it's kind of like Sierra Canyon, like where Bronny played, where it's like,
Sure,
okay, this is
sure.
although I don't does Tatum have famous parents? Does he have famous parents or is he just a good player?
I think they were Olympians or something like that. Yes.
Yeah, something like if he
Yeah.
has some kind of athletic parents, then there's
Mhm.
probably some kind of school where it's like you send your athletic children of athletes to this place because Matthew
Okay, that
Tkachuk's
makes
dad, Keith Tkachuk, was also a really good NHL player. So yeah, but it's pretty funny. Both eighth seeds from Miami, from South Florida, taking down massive juggernauts in these playoffs. Well, I guess I don't know if you call the Maple Leafs a juggernaut, but the Boston Bruins
games in a row now that are coming up starting tonight.
Boston Bruins, literally the best team ever in the NHL, best
Yes.
regular season they've ever had. The Panthers came back from a 3-1 deficit and beat them in 7 games. Then they beat the Leafs, and now they're going to beat the Carolina Hurricanes as the 8th seed and probably go all the way to the Stanley Cup. So that's pretty wild. But again, this is why sports are great because it's the most every year you fill out your playoff bracket and you're like, well, it's hard to see how it won't be like the 1st or 2nd seed or whatever. And then just remember this for next year, Phil. That no matter how it feels, no matter how bad a team has been through the end of the season, that this can happen.
Every bracket I fill out in every sport, I try and do this. I pick the worst seed, or I try and go with the Cinderella story, and it never works. Okay. And the 1 year where I don't do this in the NBA and the NHL, sure enough, you got 8 seeds going to the finals in both sports. Okay. It's always like this. Now I'm going to try and do that with like the NCAA tournament next year. Not going to work. The 1 seeds are all going to the finals. It's just how it works.
Unlike this year.
That's right.
That's
again,
this year.
Exactly. Again.
Okay, Phil, here's a quick question without looking. Who are the 2 final teams in the NCAA March Madness?
Holy shit.
This year.
I'm going to have a major block on this.
It's April 3rd.
Why can I not
see? This is another thing that's crazy about sports is how quickly you forget. I think that's such an interesting thing about sports is how quickly you forget. Like who won the World Series last year?
My sports knowledge is insane, but I'll tell you the one thing I struggle with is championships. Like, if you tell me who won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, I have no clue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could eventually think about it. But for the NCAA, was it Gonzaga?
No,
they lost in the semis.
They lost they lost in
they lost
the
before
Sweet 16. They lost in the Elite 8. You're right.
Okay, so
right.
Kansas was one of the 2 teams.
No, not even close.
No shit.
They weren't even the Kansas State was in the Elite 8 as a 3 seed.
Oh yeah. Okay, tell me, man.
Who beat Gonzaga? It's an animal.
So hold on. San Diego State was one of the 2 teams, no?
Yes, good.
Yes, that's who it was. Now I remember that was a big upset.
5 seed, and then who they lost to? Who?
And they lost to
team that steamrolled everybody this tournament. Absolutely nuked they beat Gonzaga by 30 points in the Elite 8 as a 4 seed.
I don't know why I can't remember this.
It's an animal.
What kind of animal? They're all animals, man.
A household animal, a breed of a type of household animal.
Was it Kentucky?
Nope.
It's not Kentucky.
What animals do people have at their homes?
Dogs.
What's a domestic pet? Name the most basic domestic pet.
A bird?
No. What's
hamsters?
No. What's a normal pet?
A dog.
Okay. What's an exotic type of a dog that maybe lives up north?
Exotic type. Oh, a bear.
No. When you go on a dog sled, what kind of dog is pulling you?
Oh, Connecticut. I totally forgot about Connecticut. Holy shit. They went on that crazy Cinderella run. Yes. No, but seriously, it's wild. Like, for me, if it's not the team I cheer for, I always forget who won the championship the year before. I really do. Like, you ask me about every sport, I can talk sports all day.
I find it's really funny.
It's wild,
if you forget how quickly you forget. like which teams do what. And actually this week on First Mint, on one of the Twitter questions we put up was, name one single NHL team that won a Stanley Cup in the 90s. A lot of people, without Googling, a lot of people got it, like put like Red Wings or something like that, which is true. They won like 2 or 3, but I just think you could tell people were like, oh, that's a good, I could feel people like through the screen be like, oh, it's a good question. And I had to really think about it for a second because it takes a little while. I find that so funny with sports. It's like you quickly forget certain things.
Did you,
like
speaking of Red Wings, by any chance see the player playing for Team Canada right now, the World Hockey
Championship? Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up.
Try and slice the guy's leg open, and then have people defend him online saying, "Oh, he was trying to knock the puck loose." I'm like,
here we go.
I have never seen anything like that. That was absolutely
okay. So this is from what tournament is this from?
It's a World Hockey Championships. So it's a World Hockey Championships
at the same time as the NHL playoffs. So it's like guys
right
get eliminated
after the NHL season. So a lot of the top players from these countries are not there, not just because they're playing in the playoffs right now, because a lot of them are not. They're just not there because they just played an 82-game season, and to play I think they play an 8-game round robin at this thing. It's not like 2 or 3. It's like 8 games they play. They play everybody. Is grueling, and they don't want to. So this was the Canada versus Switzerland game a couple days ago, and this is what one of the Canadian players did. It's as disgusting as it gets in hockey.
They're fighting for the puck in the corner.
You guys freezing the puck on the board.
One guy. So the guy on the other. Who are they playing?
Switzerland. Actually, very good.
So the Swiss player is like literally shielding the puck against the boards with a skate, and 2 Canadian players are on him, and this player shoots his skate down onto the Swiss player's
like a full
ankle.
Curb stomp angle type thing.
And it works. I will say, Phil,
really
hold on, but Phil, it works though. It does work.
What works?
That is nasty.
That's bad.
That is bad.
That's just bad.
I'm gonna put the link for this in the description of the podcast. If you guys want to pull it up. It's only 6 seconds.
He did not get a penalty for it.
That is bad.
Like I was watching the game and he didn't get a penalty, and Switzerland actually got a penalty right after this for like mugging the guy. Yeah, and he was playing dead on the ice, and he didn't get a penalty. And I said right away on Twitter, I said on Twitter right after it happened, before knowing what was going to happen, he has to be gone for the rest of this tournament. There's like even cross-checking 100%. A guy in the face is like an assault, but it's a hockey play.
It's a hockey play.
That usually doesn't result in anything crazy. It happens, right?
You push each other with your stick, and sometimes you kind of miss and hit
slashing
the other guy in the
guys.
face, right? So it's like it can happen.
Guys,
but this is like no. You're like when you're. I think people forget that hockey players wear knives on their feet. Like you literally like a knife with 2 edges on your foot, and to try and use it as a weapon is a completely unacceptable offense. Like that is not okay.
And there's a recent history of players getting cut in games where an insane amount of blood is spraying out of their bodies to the point where they skate as fast as they can back to their bench so the trainer can get to them and apply the pressure on them so they don't bleed out on the spot. That's how dangerous it is, right? And for him to do that, where he could have potentially cut the guy right open and ended his career and ended his life even. I know I don't care that he doesn't have a history of doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. We've both played LG a gazillion hockey games in our career. So has everyone else. And at no point have we done something like that or even thought of doing something like that. It's as dirty as it gets. So I'm glad he got a 5-game suspension. I mean, people are like, he should be suspended in the NHL, but it's not that they're not associated. Okay. The International Ice Hockey Federation is not the NHL. I'm sure his team, the Detroit Red Wings, will talk to him and you know, the fans are going to probably boo him everywhere he goes. But that was bad to recover from. That was bad.
Man. It's really
it is. It is. He's never playing for Canada again. Believe me on that. Yeah. Okay. And the Canadian people are the first to say that's disgusting, right? Evander Kane said today, he said, this is why you need fighting in hockey. And I've said it for a long time. At the lowest level of hockey, when they're 5 or 6 years old, whatever it is, okay, that's a bit young, 10 years old maybe, and up. When I played, there was fighting, and guys would do it. And do you know why they would do it? They wouldn't discuss outside at school saying, I'm going to fight that guy tonight for no reason. The fighting that happens at the young ages, and they're trying to get rid of it completely, and I'm totally against it, is it was done to hold guys like that accountable. Okay. You were going to do cheap shots.
Settle the score. Yeah.
Someone was going to find you the next time you step on that ice and beat the living crap out of you. Okay. And you better believe he was never going to do that again. Now, when you fight in minor hockey, the way it works, when I played was that if you fought in the first period of the game, you'd be gone for the rest of the game, but you were allowed to come back the next game. If you fought in the second and third periods, you'd be gone for the rest of that game and the next game. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Now in minor hockey here in Toronto, if you drop your gloves and fight, you get an automatic 8-game suspension. Okay.
Yeah, they're removing it from the game. Like they're actively removing it. They're removing it from the game. Yeah.
Completely at every level.
Yeah.
And
yes.
and now I get that, but again, this is a good example of why. And there's a lot of players like this that go around cheap shotting everybody in minor hockey, not in the NHL, because you can still fight there. And it's a problem. It is, because things like this just don't belong there. And a lot of other things don't either. So for me, I prefer they keep that, that chance that if you're going to be stupid and do stupid things, you're going to pay the price next time you play a team, and someone's going to come after you, right? But that was nasty. That was not good.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, you got. I know what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like, that's not like, oh, you can't fight, so no one's gonna be able to fight me. I'll try and cut your leg off with my skate.
I don't think definitely not an excuse.
Like that's guys. That's still like you still need to be suspended for that. Like
that's
still
crazy.
No excuse. It's not
zero excuse.
And don't forget, even Phil, when there was fighting, guys would still assault each other like crazy.
Of course they would.
Like
absolutely.
Marty McSorley attacked Donald Brashear once by skating up behind him and whacking him in the head with a stick, and it like practically killed him. And McSorley got suspended for a year.
That's right.
And that's both of those guys were two of the biggest fighters, and they still that still happens. So it's not necessarily, but skates are dangerous too. And there's also
so dangerous.
For anybody who doesn't know, Gabriel Landeskog, who's one of the best players of the Colorado Avalanche, who won the Cup 2 years ago and are contenders. He's had a rough couple of years because in a game during the COVID bubble, he got a cut just above his knee from a skate. And it really messed up some of the ligaments and the cartilage in his knees. He may never play again. And he's only like 28 or 29. And he's one of the key players on a team that could be a dynasty, a team that's really good as a shot every year. And it's really scary. And that wasn't intentional. That's like literally from somebody falling down. So there's not really a solution for that, because if they didn't have the skates, it wouldn't really be hockey. But it's not something. It's something to be taken pretty seriously, and to see people do it deliberately is definitely a big no. That's not something that should happen at all. So they should come down hard on him and at least make an example there. Especially you're playing. This is like an international game. It's not like in the NHL and two teams have all this bad blood and there's been all these fights and it's all this stuff. It's like, dude, you're playing like an international friendly.
Just because you're losing, you're getting.
It's not even the Olympics. Like it's not. This is nobody cares about this tournament, honestly, right? It's like some of us kind of care, but it doesn't like the best players aren't even in this tournament. So right. It's not a good look. Let's put it that way. Phil, I wish we had more to say about the NHL, but there's still no NFTs. I feel like we need to start a meme about the NHL NFTs of like how many days
what the hell,
we
keep tweeting
random been stuff. An update. Every week when I'm preparing this podcast, I go into the Discord for NHL Breakaway, which is the name of the NFT project, and write cause a rumble and just tell people like what the hell's going on. Tell people that the Leafs are the best team and they're all idiots. Like anything just to cause anything to feel something, honestly. So got a little trouble not trouble, but I got a little rumble last week. Today I posted a GIF of like satellites looking for life in the universe. And no response yet.
I responded to their tweet today. I was just like, dude, I'm like, okay, cool. You're getting us excited for game whatever 4 tonight. Like, what's the packs, man? Like, honestly, no, forget getting excited for the game 4. We want packs. Like, talk to us.
I just don't understand.
Give us an
why
update.
You can,
something, man.
You don't even have to release the packs. Like I always say, that just release some kind of basic free NFT that's just like, hey, NHL Breakaway, and it's just a little icon, just something to kind of like make people come do something. Because there's nothing worse than an announcement about an announcement that's coming up, and that's all that NHL Breakaway by Sweet has done.
Such a bad habit.
It looked like they had a bit of a media cycle going, where it's like, hey, this is launching. Here's the graphic. Here's the first set. Here's an interview with Gordie Howe's grandson, and then that was like 2 weeks ago, and we haven't heard a single peep since about what's going on with that project.
Not even teasing us anymore about the first set, like they used to.
Yeah, and now there's like maybe less than 10 games left in the entire playoffs or whatever it is. Like you're
about to lose everybody here. Yeah.
We already lost everybody. These are the 4 least exciting teams you could ever imagine in the final. You're going to have a Florida Panthers versus Vegas Golden Knights final. Like, God.
Yeah, that's even worse.
That's uninteresting.
Yeah.
And sure, like we've all checked out. Like everybody's off enjoying their summers, doing something else. maybe watching some baseball or some golf or something like that. Like nobody's watching hockey. So not a good time to launch. If I was them, I would just wait till next season. Like just wait till the end of September when it's training camps and things are going on and like until people actually care about hockey. Because honestly, when it's hot and summer out, like I don't give a shit. Like it's a struggle for me to watch some of the games at this point because it's nice out and I want to do something else.
How good, speaking of golf, was that golf pro guy at the PGA Championship? Like, how did you see that story? So this guy, I guess he had an exemption to play in the PGA Championship, which for those who don't know is one of the 4 major tournaments in golf. And he's just a random 40-something-year-old who is a golf pro in California at a public course. He charges $150 an hour for lessons, and that's all his job is. He's played 6 professional tournaments in his life. Okay. They were all in California and he made $4,000. All right. By finishing in the top 15 at the PGA Championship on the weekend, just out of nowhere, no golf pro has ever finished in the top 15 at a major. Okay. He made over $300,000 on the weekend. And he's been invited to almost every single remaining tournament this year on the PGA Tour as a special exemption. The Canadian Open invited him. The upcoming whatever tournament's coming up this week, I forgot the name. He's been invited, and the guy was crying during his interview. Like his golf club was all watching. It's an incredible story, and I'm excited because the Netflix cameras were apparently there. I watched that Netflix show. About golf. That's the same as the F1 show and all that stuff. And it's actually great. Some people didn't like it. I think it's fantastic. But what a story. Like this is one of those sports stories you're probably going to see a movie. This is a random dude. This is not a guy who's on and he's there beating the Jordan Spieths and all the big name players. He's beating them in a major, right? What a story, man. This guy's insane.
That shows you also like how hard golf is.
No, it's true.
Like, it's true. It's not, but it's like how hard it is and how streaky it can be. And I'm not taking away from him, and I'm also not taking away from the pros that are on the tour. But it's like golf is so freaking hard, man. It's so hard. Is a lot of like it's not as much luck that's part of it. It's like the feeling in your bones the day you're playing. Like it so comes down to like your vibe that day, and you can practice and have all these resources, but this guy clearly like played the best golf of his life at the moment where he got to be on the tour, right? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
And Brooks Koepka, who won, walking by him after he won, walking back to the clubhouse to sign his card and all that, walking by this guy, he says to him, "I heard you're buying drinks." Not the other way around. He told this guy, with your new money that you haven't made in like the last 20 years of playing golf, I heard you're buying drinks. And now this guy has a real opportunity. Now it's going to be interesting to see because the pressure will kind of be on him now as this Cinderella story to do well at the next tournament. And if he completely bombs and puts up one of the most embarrassing scores we've ever seen, people will be like, oh my God, right? So I think this next one coming up is big pressure. And someone said it's in Texas, the next tournament. Somebody said his kid goes to school in Texas. It's real interesting. There's a real interesting story coming up here. Very humble. You don't see professionals ever crying like that when they're invited to tournaments. And, it's a story that everyone got behind. And he sunk that final putt. The place went bonkers. It's what stories are made from. And golf is a sport where it's individual. So the pressure isn't immense. There's no team to bail you out in tough spots in front of the crowd. It's just you and the people, right? And like you said, it's a very challenging game physically and mentally. It really is. When you're off, and there's no recovery. Unless you're strong. So yeah, this guy's something else, man. This story is he's not a young 19-year-old. He's not a young amateur.
No.
Came out of he's going to school and he's paying his own way to
school. It's your typical feel good. It's your typical feel good like sports
40
story.
Man.
Yeah. But I think that's another good reason you love sports, right? Is this kind of stuff. So I think that is DraftKings Rainmakers going to make an NFT of him?
They should. They have to now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for I know for sure that golf pros all over the world. Okay, if you're a golf instructor, you're probably saying I could play better than some of these guys on the team.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that he's giving hope to all.
But when it's time to qualify and all that, you're not up to their standards. Now he's given hope to every single, not even just golf pro, every average Joe that's like, hey, I played Pebble Beach and I got a better score than so and so. He's given hope to all these people. Now you're probably going to see them popping up everywhere, like trying to get into all these tournaments and. this guy just opened a new can of worms on everybody with this thing. So,
yeah, exactly.
Funny story.
Just like in the NHL, whenever they need a backup goalie and it's like the Zamboni driver or like some random from the town nearby, and then that guy gets to play like a 1 or 2 periods or something like that, it gives hope to every Zamboni driver out there that maybe they'll get to be a goalie one day in the NHL.
It's called the e-bug. They call it the e-bug.
That's right.
And every arena,
Emergency backup.
only during the
Backup.
regular season has it. Okay. And for those who don't know, every NHL hockey team carries 2 goalies. Okay, there's a starter and there's a backup who sits on the bench in his equipment ready to go if something happens. Now, what happens when both goalies can't play anymore, which happens more than you think? There is a third goalie that is sitting in the back somewhere. He's not even dressed. He's just sitting there, and he's available to both teams in case the 2 goalies go down. And when the 2 goalies go down, that team has to go backstage, sign him to that 1-game contract or whatever it is. He gets dressed and he comes into the game. Now, like LG said, it's not like it's not a minor league goalie. It is literally a goalie from like the local beer leagues. Okay. In the case of the Leafs, was Leafs legend Curtis Joseph a few weeks before the season ended. Curtis Joseph was like 50-something years old, was the emergency goalie that night. And people were dying for him to come in. They're like, yeah, okay, please let the backup get like killed so we can see him come in. But yeah, there's been some wild stories because some of these goalies have actually won games. Which is not supposed to happen. So great sports.
No, well, I mean, they're just there to kind of like, they're not
supposed to win games.
They're not supposed to have a big impact, but it is like a really funny wrinkle that's part of like the NHL. But obviously, golf a little looser. Phil, we didn't talk about when we were talking about the NBA playoffs is kind of the only, I would say, exciting thing that's going on right now in the NFT world. For sports stuff was Top Shot Redemptions. We beat this to death already, so I think we can only talk about it so many times. But way back when this whole system started, we talked about Jimmy Butler at $3 was a good buy. There's nobody who could have predicted that the Heat were going to go, almost all the way to the finals. As of this recording, that moment is sitting at $50. Which is fantastic, right? And LeBron at one point, his moment went all the way up to like $90. Right now, sitting at 20. And actually, what I did before the show, here we go, another pump and dump on the way. I bought 2 LeBrons. I bought 2 LeBron blank redemptions for $20 each. Actually, one of them went to $19. And that's not based on the fact that I think the Lakers are going to win the title. Again, that's not what I'm playing. I'm playing the market. I think the Lakers have a decent chance of winning games 4 and 5. And I think even if they just win game 4 tonight, I think you'll see those pop back up because there's the only the one guaranteed thing on Top Shot that people go completely berserk for is LeBron moments, which they should, right? Absolutely. So I'm playing the market here, putting $40 on the line at least for tonight. Just hoping that the Lakers can pull, make it a gentleman's sweep, if not make it a 6-game series. And pretty amazing though. And I have to say, like, props to Top Shot for creating like a speculative system, right? This is what they've never had. They've never had something where the moments actually fluctuate based on what's happening in the games. They've had like in-season nightly challenges, but that was mainly like, oh, do you think Clint Capella is going to get the most rebounds tonight? Like that was like, or Rudy Gobert. Like it was based on some pretty boring ass speculative stuff. So they've devised a system. I don't know what that does for the, other 50 million moments that are on Top Shot outside of the playoff stuff, but at the end of the day, after all these iterations, all these attempts, all this kind of stuff, they made something that I actually care about. That's actually exciting. That makes watching basketball and following it matter. And that lets you gamble on it a little bit. Probably not supposed to say that.
Yeah. And, I've been talking about my opportunity to buy something for like $3 and buy 100 of them and then have them turn into like, triple my money or something like that. That's what I've been trying to do ever since Cool Cats. But I'm starting to wonder if I had bought 100 Jimmy Butlers at $3 and $4, let's say, would I be able to sell them right now, all 100 of them? Would I be able to? Seriously, do you think I'd be able to sell all of them right now?
You know what?
Obviously not listing them all together, but if I were to list them,
let's
at
go
the floor
take a look.
Once every hour, I would list one at the floor. Would I be able to sell all 100 in the span of 2 days to take my profit of $47 times 100? Which is a huge profit.
Let's see. So that Jimmy Butler reel.
Are they selling is what I'm saying.
What the fuck? This is the wrong.
Now that we're 3-0, we know they're going to the finals, most likely. Is that thing selling? Like, are people buying this thing at that price?
So I'm not sure. There's 27 sales at $50 in the last 24 hours. So I don't know if you'd be able to unload 300 of them.
Not.
But I feel what I will say, Phil,
100,
is that
100 of them. Yeah.
if you had bought 100 of them at $3, I think you would have sold on your way up, right? Because when they won their first round series against the Bucks, he went up to like $20, right? So I feel like you would have sold a bunch of them then, and you could sell them into the pumps, right? So I think that there's a different way to do. I think you would have made a lot of money if you had done that, and you would have probably by now, honestly, you would have sold a lot of them. I think you would have sold a lot of them after the first round, after the second round.
No way you would have kept them against Celtics.
Yeah, like the way to make money is not to hold out on the most unlikely bet. Like once you have profit, you take it, right? Like that's how this game works. So I don't know if anybody who had bought that many Jimmy Butlers at that time would still have most of them now. If they did, I think that'd be kind of silly. I had bought a few and I sold them all at the end of the first round when they beat the Bucks. So I have none, but yeah. Still pretty fun. I just think overall that to me is a good sign. I've been thinking on my end too about like how they can translate that into something in the regular season, right? Because obviously the playoffs are super fun. Legacies are defined, but you can't really make something. You just make a similar process for a game in the middle of December between like the Wizards and the Rockets. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to have the same luster. There's so many games in the NBA and there's so many that nobody cares about because they don't matter at all. I think what they could do is, now that they have this kind of like redeeming system, is maybe make it matter like by quarters of the season, like who, devise some kind of system of like what place is this team going to be in at what point in the season. Will this player be an all-star? Like I think by creating like a mint pass system and tying it to like game results, you can definitely develop something kind of fun that makes it fun to follow along. And also where the most important part, people can bet on underdogs and win when the underdogs succeed. Like that's basically what makes markets, is that people want to be able to buy things low when other people don't believe in that asset or that stock or whatever it is, or that player or that bet or that team. People want to be able to buy it low, sell it high, and be rewarded for risk, right? So I think Top Shot's kind of starting to dabble in that for the first time ever. And if they can find a way to make that exciting through the regular season, I think that's going to matter, outside of like daily challenges of like who gets the most rebounds tonight. Because then because that type of system, that was just DFS. That was just like, if you want to play who's getting the most rebounds tonight, go play DFS. You don't need to play Top Shot, right? Like what they've done here is they've created a system that's beyond DFS, that's beyond so rare predictions or any of that kind of stuff or regular fantasy. It actually has tradable assets to it based on surprising results. So that's my thoughts.
Were you in attendance for the big release of the WNBA Top Shot roadmap?
And don't get me started.
You know about it?
Yeah. What do you mean in attendance? You could attend it? I didn't know you could attend.
No, but I saw some people being like, yeah, they're about to release the roadmap. So I figured there might be like maybe was there spaces? Was there? I don't know. I didn't follow.
I think maybe they did a stream. I don't know.
Something. They must have done something.
Really followed. I haven't. No, I think they did a stream when they released those packs nobody wanted 2 weeks ago, but I don't think they did anything for WNBA.
I will say this. Actually, I want to talk WNBA real quick because we never do. I saw something on the news this morning, and this is an opinion that's probably not for everybody, but did you see Brittany Griner make her return to the WNBA after spending, what was it? Was she in the jail in Russia for like a year and a half? Something like that.
She was there for a long time. Okay. Yeah, she was there for a long time.
So she's back. She's playing for the Phoenix Mercury, and they were playing in LA. Okay. And they did not sell out the game. And the coach of the Mercury like snapped after, saying it's like a disgrace that people in LA did not come out and watch BG play and didn't fill the arena. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I go back and read that whole story, the US traded an arms dealer, okay, in the middle of a Ukraine-Russia war back to Russia in exchange for a player that believed they were above everybody else and believed that it was okay to smuggle drugs through an airport, which doesn't fly in any part of the world. Forget Russia. Doesn't fly in the US. It doesn't fly. She thought, because of her status, she was a great player in Russia, that, you know what, even if they find me, they probably won't care. And I'll be good with this. Okay. And somehow we gave up, the US gave up a convicted arms dealer in exchange for her. The WNBA already struggles to draw full credit. I'm just trying to understand where this coach is coming from, thinking that the whole world was going to want to be in attendance for that game yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, What is she? Is she live on another planet? Like, it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was interested in the story in seeing how she does. Okay. But by no means would I be rushing to buy tickets to go watch her play. Right. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird that the coach even went there with that, kind of calling out the fans, saying like, "What's your problem?" But hey, speaking of that, there was a WNBA game in Toronto, an exhibition game, the first ever, a couple weeks ago, and the fans sold out the arena, and like Toronto fans do, and they supported. And I think we'll see a franchise pretty soon enough in Toronto.
I think Toronto is the best possible market.
I think it's coming. They would have fans, and they would have.
I think that because, and for some context, like the WNBA is an important league. The NBA really props it up. No WNBA teams make money. They all lose money. They lose tons of money every single year. And the upstart leagues have to, you know what I mean? It's not easy to kind of create a market for something, and they very much have to. And it's tough for organized women's sports, right? Like the women's hockey league in Canada folded last year, right? It's not that simple, and it's not like some of the solo sports where they can just put them on the same stage as men, like UFC and tennis. So it's a little bit of a, or even like World Cup. Women's World Cup has done incredibly well. Women's soccer has done incredibly well, coming again this summer. WNBA is kind of next, but it's not as linear a path. The league doesn't make money. I think Toronto's a fantastic market for it, right?
Oh, no matter what.
I think they should absolutely go there. Toronto has such a huge appetite for that, and I think would be the right kind of culture for something like that. And who knows? Like, I think that's also an opportunity where it's like the WNBA doesn't really have like a defining franchise right now, right? Like who's the marquee franchise of the WNBA? Maybe they have one.
It's
but
like Las Vegas, Los Angeles.
Yeah, but it's not like a household name
no.
enough. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yes, of course, this franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, there's some names, right? And even in terms of the legends, like sure, there's some names like Sue Bird and stuff like that have transcended a little bit. But I think what the WNBA really needs is like a true megastar, not international prisoner. As its household name. It needs someone who's good, who's going to like literally redefine the sport. Like they need a Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky of the WNBA in a sense, right? Like somebody who comes in and is like, whoa, this person is on a completely different level than everybody else and just crushes everybody every year. And then with that, they need like a fun franchise that becomes something that people really want to wear. And I think Toronto would be a really good destination for that. And hopefully there's a star potentially in the wings, in the college wings that's coming up that could be that person as well, right? So I think the WNBA has a bright future. It just needs household names. It just needs stars, right? So that's my thoughts of the WNBA. I'm not happy that they put stuff on Top Shot. I'll be honest with you, and it's not because it's not a sexist thing. It's not like I have a problem with the WNBA, but at the end of the day, it's the viewership numbers in the WNBA are very similar to the MLS. Right? Major League Soccer. It's a growing sport. I think MLS NFTs would be a hard sell. They have them on So Rare, and they couple them with all the. Yeah, exactly.
There's no way those things are selling. If you go exclusively MLS, you're not selling. Trust me.
I don't know enough about it, but that's at least paired with a much bigger soccer platform. So to me, the WNBA, like trying to pair that on the same platform as the NBA, like, yes, I think morally it's very important. I get it. But the supply to me is insane. And the supply has always been completely berserk for Top Shot for the WNBA. It's like the commons last season were 8,000 each. It's like, that is fucking crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Like if
you don't even have that many active users. Yeah,
no. And it's also
and
like
half of them don't even want that. So
no, that's it. Right. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be WNBA collectibles, but if you compare it to NBA collectibles, it's apples and oranges. Like the highest selling NBA card ever, and again, it's an unfair comparison, apples to oranges. Like I said, highest selling NBA card ever is probably like a Michael Jordan card, $10 million. Luka rookies are going for $4 million, whatever it is. Highest selling WNBA card ever is $10,000, right? So there's, even for physicals, there's not that much of a market. It's a growing market. Again, when you start to have stars, you keep developing the league, there will be more of a market. I think releasing any collectibles at all on the Top Shot platform for these is it feels really forced. And that's generally my thoughts. If anything, what they should do is release like super limited edition. Whoever the first, like the WNBA has an all WNBA first team, same as the NBA. Like these are the top 5 players. Boom, that they elect at the end of the season. Release like 50 NFTs for each one. That's it. Yeah, just collector's item.
I agree.
Best players in the league, and then one for the MVP if it's not that, and then maybe like a small run of whoever the champion was. None of this, like they're going to release something. They're reducing the supply for this season on Top Shot, but it's still like 4 sets. One of them at the All-Star break, all this stuff. It's like, no, like it's already nobody wants a Bruce Brown. Nobody wants a Bruce Brown common from the middle of the season. Definitely nobody wants, and even like a WNBA random player from the middle of the season. Like it's not even, you know what I mean? So again, like, I just want to make my opinion clear. Like WNBA, very much support it, has a lot of work still to do to continue to climb into like the broader media spectrum to get a lot more attention to become profitable. And I don't think that the road to equality is necessarily oversupplying collectibles. So but maybe that's the way of making them equal. It's like if they're going to oversupply the NBA, might as well oversupply the WNBA on Top Shot.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely outrageous. It has to do with demand here. Okay, nothing else. They're just not. That's nowhere near as popular. Nobody cares, especially with digital collectibles. Not the same thing, man.
There's already barely a market for these. There's already barely a market for digital collectibles. Nobody's made the market yet. There's no mass reason for these. So you can't tell me that like all these WNBA, you're bringing in all these WNBA fans to Top Shot to buy these. It's like you can barely bring in Top Shot, or you can even barely bring in NBA fans. How are you going to bring in WNBA fans? Maybe they can do more. Maybe it's easier to get into the arenas and give people like the codes and all that kind of stuff. Maybe, but damn, that's a hard sell.
I agree. We need to end it there because for something that has no interest, we've spent too much time talking about it, to be honest.
It's true. Right? One last thing on the Top Shot front. What do you think is going to happen with the Rookie Revelations set? And for context, this is another legendary set they're supposed to release from this past season. All these players deep in the rear view now, even guys like Paolo, like who cares at this point about getting a legendary from him? They said they were delaying it because the last legendary pack drop that nobody wanted was very controversial, or not a lot of people wanted, to be fair. They said there were some issues, so they're going to delay the rookie revelation one. I think to me it's extreme overkill. Phil, do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I did. We were talking about this before the show, and I find I find the NBA Top Shot Twitter account hilarious. Okay, they answer the most random stuff. All right. Today, somebody came out and it was like, "Hey, Top Shot, remember when you promised us that if we locked our sets, we get like special packs coming up like before the end of May? Is that ever going to happen?" And the Top Shot account like replied, "Yes." I'm like, okay, that's so random. Like, okay, well, you better do it then.
Okay.
Well, I think it'll happen, but man, I don't know. To me now, we're at the end here. It's getting late. The redemptions, the what are they called? The playoff moments. Redemptions.
Yeah,
is what the attention is on. Okay. Anyone still kind of using the platform, that's what they're doing right now. There's nothing else going on. Okay. So for that to come out at this point, I don't know, man. It's to me is kind of, you're going off track here, the way I do on half these podcasts. You're not playing into the period of interest. Do you know what I mean? First of all, rookies are not rookies anymore, right? Like most of them, their rookie season's done. Like they're not rookies anymore.
That's what I mean. It's so like far in the rear view. It's so long ago.
To do this, like when the Rising Stars game was happening, or when the rookies were all battling for Rookie of the Year and going crazy and stuff like that. That's when you do something like that. That's when all the fan bases are still tuned in. They're like, okay, cool, that's my rookie. I'd like that, right? But now we're at the stage like, who the hell wants that now? So I don't know, man.
But even then, like, there's already, what I don't understand is that Top Shot has already designated what important rookie moments are. Right? They said last season, they're like, okay, every rookie from now, their first ever moment will always be a like rookie premiere from their first game minted to 4,000. They've set this rule. And that to me is like, well, that's the rookie premiere. If you're using general cardboard collecting standards, it's like, yes, like the first card is super important, right? Like matters way more. And that's why I made it. That's literally the only thing I collect anymore. I have like, I bought the Benedict Mathurin the other day because you dipped a lot, right? I've got the Paolo Banchero. I've got Shaden Sharp. Like I've got all these 4K rookies, and I don't know why they need legendary moments minted to 99. Like it seems like you don't why do they need that? Why do they need that? Like there's no reason for that. Like rookies should have one moment. That's it. One
First game in the league.
card.
First game in the league.
Every player should have one card per season. That's it. They should never have
Mhm.
anything else. I don't care what the set is. I don't care how far they go in the playoffs. One fucking card per season. That's it.
But
You know,
that's how it
and-
was when we grew up with physical. Is you had the set.
Yeah.
There weren't like, okay, there were special editions that would come out where
Mhm.
like the Mario Lemieux would have like, you know, a gold star one. And it was, but
Sure.
that was
Yeah.
super rare. Like if you ever got one of those, there was only like maybe 100. Okay. But you
It's also
had
different. Yeah.
the checklist of
Yeah.
the players, and the cards
Yeah.
were numbered 1 to 299. Every player in the league.
Exactly.
And when you got one in your pack, you were able to say, I have this season's Jaromir Jagr. I have this
Mhm.
season's Matt Sundin. I have this season's Steve Yzerman.
Mhm.
There were not like 6 or 7 more coming out in the same series later in the year
Mhm.
where you'd be like, okay, well, I have my original checklist. Like, what is this? I really wish they would switch to that system where you're just releasing one of every player for the year. Okay.
Yes.
And it would have to be something sensational, like a milestone, first game in the league, you know, a half court buzzer beater, something like that. But if you go back, and this is something a lot of people don't do, LGs, they don't actually watch their moments. I don't. If you go back and look at all your moments,
the video matters to me at all.
there is the most basic shit in there where it's
Yes.
like, why did they come up with this? Well, who cares?
Mhm.
There's 4 or 5 of this player moments during the season.
Mhm.
And I own like the layup against the worst team in the league where they lost
Mhm.
by 15. Like, what's happening?
Mhm.
What is
Mhm.
this?
Mhm.
What's the significance of this? Right? As
Mhm.
opposed to physical, if there's only one of each every season, having that
Mhm.
one means something because you only need one to complete the set and you have it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when there's 4 of the same player, like the KDs this year or the LeBrons, there's like 4 or 5 of them, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And some of them are just random, stupid plays. Man, you're heading in
Mhm.
the wrong direction with that stuff.
Mhm.
That's when people stop caring. There's nothing special about owning these anymore. That's the problem, right?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I don't know if there'll ever be a point where you say anything different.
No.
You know, because the
Honestly.
damage is done. There's no way to undo all the moments that are out there unless they take the step of like, hey, we're going to go on a campaign to burn 40 million moments.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean? Like, I don't know how
that's not happening.
it'd have to be like a buyback program, right? Like the government program to buy everyone's guns or whatever they, you know, was trying to get rid of guns in the US. Is like, we'll just buy everyone's guns back.
That
You know what I
also
mean?
did
Like,
not work. Yeah, I know.
it's not going to work. But it's what I'm saying is that for this, it's like there's no way to undo that. There's no way to make any future moments special. And that's even kind of what I was saying about the redemptions. And I tweeted about this earlier that it's both good and bad to the redemptions, because it's good because it demonstrates this like Top Shot can be exciting, that you can come and have a lot of fun speculating, buying low, you know, hedging your bets, all that kind of stuff. But it's also bad because now it's like, well, what about the moments that aren't gamified this way? Because what Top Shot hasn't done is found a way for these to stand up as collectibles, right? And they haven't done that, A, because they made too many of them, right? And there's no way to undo that.
Yep.
And B, they tried to fix that by gamifying them. So now there's no reason for these to stand on their own because there's too many of them and because they've been used as game pieces. So you can't then stop using the game pieces because now you found a game that works with redemptions. You have to keep going down that path. But then the further you go down that path, the less these are just collectible items, right? So what do you do with that? Right. And I think that's kind of
tough.
That's tough, right? That's the issue. And it's like, if you, I don't know, you know, every week we're going to have the same conversation. And I don't know. I don't know if that conversation will ever change, right? Even from people like us. It's like, when will we ever talk about something that different? Right. I don't know what that would
absolutely.
be. So
a bit of breaking news here, LG. Two things. Okay.
Yeah.
One, if you're watching the actual video stream of this podcast, you will notice that in true the real Phil D kind of, I guess, tradition, I have started to fade into complete darkness here. Okay? It's almost 9 p.m. Eastern. We never record this late. I've been okay, but I am starting to fade into complete oblivion here, where you're not going to see me in like.
This is classic.
Okay?
This is what used to
classic.
happen on the live shows way back.
It used to happen when I was doing
us back here
podcasts for the NBA 2K League. It used to happen all the time, to the point where you would only see my teeth. Okay. So it's a classic move. And I guess I never thought about that when we were recording later tonight. Second thing is, I just received a message from someone who will remain unnamed. Okay. And maybe this is worth maybe talking about for 5 minutes. This person said, and this is someone who is heavily invested in NFL All Day. They said to me for the first time, I've heard this person say this, it is starting to look like All Day it might be done, and I don't know what to do. Okay. I see a lot of, this person says they see a lot of people kind of burned out on the platform and leaving, and they're not sure what to do because they're heavily invested. So we haven't talked about All Day for a long time, but LG, tell me what the hell is going on with All Day right now? Is there anything going on? I'm serious. I don't follow, so I have no idea.
I mean, we're in the middle of a partnership with them, so All Day is incredible, and you should join the platform immediately. No, so what's going on with them? I mean, honestly, it's the off season, right? Like, what's going on in football right now?
Yeah.
Nothing, right? People are like excited that Aaron Rodgers is on the Jets. I think, honestly, to be really honest, because I still want to be in partnership with brands, but not be able to, but still be able to speak my mind. Sure. I think they've got their work cut out for them, right? I think they found a really fun way to start last season, right? Playbook was awesome. But then there was no way to fix the inevitable mandate from Dapper, which is oversupply, right? It's really, really hard to do. But I will also say, Phil, I think that All Day's at the same point it was a year ago, right? Because All Day released at the end of the prior season, right? They released a bunch of stuff a year ago. Every couple of weeks, you and I were doing Club Cold Brew, trying to crack some All Day packs. But through the end, like the start of the summer, all the key players were on the marketplace for a couple dollars, right? And in our Discord in First Mint, a bunch of the guys from All Day All Night and the show that started and everything were saying, here's the guys you got to go and buy right now. And a lot of us bought those guys for $4 or $5 and sold them for 20 or 25, right? Exactly the kind of flip that you're looking for. Not that, and a lot of people kept playing the game, right? It was more than that, but again, the speculative value. So I don't know. I think like anything else right now is the time that anything that you're invested in the NFL, now is the time to buy low. You could say the same thing, not just of All Day, but probably DraftKings Rainmakers, all that kind of stuff. It's like, you want to make speculative moves, now's the time to do it. Like, you think your team has a good chance of Super Bowl next year, go look at the odds for Vegas, right? Like that, you might have a pretty good shot right now. So I think that, I don't know what's going on with All Day. I would say that I'm sure are preparing something really exciting because their partnerships and promotions team, outside of a great partnership with the First Mint, have demonstrated that they can bring a lot of star players to the table. They can deliver a lot of really great experiences that the NFL is bought in. It's just that the business model of printing digital collectibles and selling to people just is not a proven model, and it doesn't necessarily work. So, I think that's hard to do. And I think that right now there's probably a lot of boredom because you're still over 100 days away from any NFL action, but you're also 3 months out from the last catch. So what are you supposed to do? NFL off season's fucking long, man.
It's long. The longest in pro sports, man. It really is. And it's also NBA, what makes the league. It's what makes the league special, to be honest with you, is that it's played in such a short period of time. And it's every week. It's 3-4 times a week. It's always a big event. And then you have the longest off season of all pro sports, like literally, right? As soon as Super Bowl's done, you're going like 9 months almost,
and they don't really try and prop it up. They don't try and prop it up. There's NFL draft, sure, that's fun, but then after that, there's nothing. Whereas NBA, it's like, oh, there's finals, and then there's the draft, and then there's free agency, and then there's summer league, and then everyone takes August off, and then it's like, oh, training camps in September, let's get going again, right? It's like the
finals go right to the end of June in both hockey and basketball, right? Like end of June, man. That's
not a lot of time between.
About a month off until the training camp starts. So. Yeah. But that's special. We like that about football. And it's, the anticipation builds. But I just haven't heard anything in forever from All Day.
I don't think there's anything to here. Yeah, we're working with them on some content that's going to be good, like evergreen educational content for new people to come in. So maybe we'll see some of that soon. But a lot of that would be to prepare for the next season, right? Like, I think that's the mandate, is to be ready for hopefully new users, right? And that's the big question across all these things right now, Phil, is how are they going to bring in new users? And the NFL is the biggest sport, right? That's the biggest sports league, at least in our community. So if anybody's gonna be able to,
they've got their work cut out for them.
They've got their work cut out for them, because not only do they have to make the product fun and exciting, they also have to sell people on the idea, on like the entire product class, which is not easy, right, to do.
Yeah, that's right. LG, if you look at the screen, we're at the stage where you can only see my teeth. Look.
I like it. I think this is great. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a new style. We should do that. You know those restaurants where they like the dining experience in the dark, which I refuse to go.
Yes, where you eat.
I find that
dark,
absolutely insane to have to do.
Oh, we should go. We should go do it together. We should. You know what? How about this, Phil? How much do you think people would pay to buy like a ticket to go to a dark restaurant with you and me.
I don't feel like getting tickled by strangers. I know that's what happens. Now, okay, there's no
only
way.
Available for people.
There's no way.
Yeah, only available to people who are in the First Mint Discord. Which I mean, some of them are strangers, anyways. We don't know their names.
There's no way that there's not like hanky panky.
No,
stuff that goes
absolutely.
On there. There is.
You know what we're gonna do, Phil? Next year, a year from now, we're gonna go to one of those restaurants, and you know who we're gonna go with? One of your favorite people who just hosted their own conference this past weekend.
Stop.
Gary Vaynerchuk. How much would you guys pay to see Phil go to a darkness restaurant with his favorite buddy, Gary V? Phil, I feel like you've got some thoughts about Veecon.
Yeah. And before, just to end the last kind of mini segment we just did, I actually would prefer to go to medieval times with the First Mint community than I would going to a restaurant where I can't see, hear, smell, all that stuff. I that thing drives me nuts. I just can't do it. Veecon. Okay. So I have long
context. Veecon is Gary Vaynerchuk, who is a social media celebrity, and he's basically, for anybody who doesn't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, because it's actually a lot of people that don't know who he is. Picture like Tony Robbins, the motivational guru. Picture like if Tony Robbins is Frodo, Gary Vaynerchuk is the same thing, but he's Gollum. Okay, it's like the opposite. Like Tony Robbins is big and broad. He's like, hey, everybody, we're gonna get pumped up. Gary Vaynerchuk is like, if you're not working 24/7 and killing yourself, you're not gonna fucking make it in life. Like it's the same motivational guru that everybody wants to be like, but it's basically like the king of hustle porn. That's like, you need to fucking work until 4 a.m. to run all these businesses, or you're a big loser. So he's just there to make you feel like you suck. So anyways, he sold NFTs 2 years ago of really shitty animal drawings that he drew himself, made a fortune on it, and is apparently one of the biggest players in NFTs. And he hosts a conference that if you own one of those stupid animal drawings, you get to go to the conference. And it was this past weekend.
Yeah. So, this is controversial because a lot of people are kind of obsessed with these motivational speakers. Mm-hmm. And for me, for the longest time, these motivational speakers like Tony Robbins, like Gary, for me, for a long time, it's always been very creepy. Okay. They creep me out. They just do. Okay. These are kind of grown men. They speak to people the way anybody could really speak to people, but they get worshipped and they know that they're worshipped and they know that people will like kind of pass out when they see them. Like I don't know if you saw some of the videos from the weekend, but like the word was that he was like meeting and greeting fans and people were like redirecting Ubers to that location and like killing themselves to get there just to like get a picture with him in the background. I find that insane. I find that insane with celebrities. I find that insane, but let alone some kind of speaker. And, he had a couple of disasters in the NFT space, aside from those drawings. You had those books. Remember the books? Like we still have people trying to get rid of those books. Somebody has like 300 of them. I forgot who it was, but someone's still trying to get rid of them. And, the whole candy thing, his name was attached to candy, but then he kind of didn't know what the hell it was.
He was part of the group with Fanatics with Michael Rubin, who first invested in candy, and he's tweeted about it once ever. Candy Digital. Yeah. Because Gary V was big in the card collecting world during that big bull run. And when he first started talking about NFTs, he's like, yeah, I know about Top Shot. I've been talking to, I know Roham, blah, 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 blah. And was like, yeah, we're launching candy. And then literally never freaking mentioned it again. Like the biggest rugger in the world.
And even like Ballers, they reached out to him saying, we'll make you a New York Jets one because he's such a big Jets fan. But he was too cool to answer. Do you know what I mean? Things like that, right? Like that's not up his alley. So for me, Veecon, I love conferences. I love meeting the NFT community. I love events. I love NFT NYC was one of my favorite things of all time, even though, it was chaos. Chaos is my thing. We got to meet so many people I'd been, excited to meet. And Veecon, we had a lot of our friends there and it looks like they had a good time. The Pseudo Sisters made some great content. Always fun to watch through those eyes. Thread guy was there, was like the mega star of the whole thing. People were like chasing him down like he was Gary V, just because he's that kind of character. But for me, I would not have attended that conference just for, again, this is a personal opinion. The whole Gary V thing, Tony Robbins, all that, despite being loved and worshipped by millions, for me is still too creepy. I don't know what it is. There's something about these guys that gives me the creeps. I feel that I motivate kids that I coach in sports, and I feel like I do it a certain way. And for me, that's kind of the right way to do it. These guys, it's almost like hypnotism to a certain degree, where people are like not blinded by everything else and they just worship. You can't say bad things about these guys, or else people like kill you. Now Andrew Tate, who is a controversial character in his own. Okay, he just got out of jail in Romania and he's still on house arrest somewhere in Romania. I don't like the guy. Let's make this clear. I don't know. I
don't know if controversial is even. I think that's giving him too much credit. But go on.
It is. No. Okay. So I do not like this guy. I don't support anything he says. All the teenagers do. They're like, "Yeah, did you hear his opinions, Dad? That guy's so right." I'm like, dude, don't even give this guy time of day. This guy's a complete idiot. But he tweeted something a couple days ago, so random, that made me laugh. And he didn't mention Veecon specifically, but it's literally the only NFT conference or crypto conference going on right now. What did he tweet again? He said something like, "I own gazillions of dollars in crypto, but these conferences." So I went in I know you're finding it. I went in our Discord and I posted, I'm like, "Oh, Andrew Tate taking huge shots at everyone at Veecon right now." People are like, "Yeah, you're right." Anyways, he said something like, I would never hang out with so many freaking weird nerds," is what he said. So, like, that's not the way I see it. Listen, I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy these events, but kind of fun that he would comment on that. So again, for me, LG, it's not my vibe. I don't know about you if you'd ever attend one of these things, even if you had, free tickets or whatever. It's just not my vibe. It's not. I could never attend one of these motivational sessions and get anything out of it. And I think there's two different kinds of people. There's the people that really get caught up in these things and make it part of their lives. Like if you look at the Kardashians, they worship Tony Robbins. They go to all of his events. He's like, they say he's a life-changing person. But when I watch Tony Robbins stuff, I'm like, this is a joke. Like I get nothing out of this. So it's two kinds of people. And I'm on that side of I get nothing out of this. And I find these guys super creepy to have young girls. Like, no different than a rock star, to be honest with you. But the rock stars is like, it's because of their music. The movie stars, it's because of the music, their movies. These guys are just feeding like kind of bullshit to everybody, and people are falling for it. That's the way I see it. So I would not go to Veecon, but I did enjoy watching some of the content. Like it's
you go to watch it. Yeah. You enjoy the content online. You
I'll watch from the
enjoy it from a distance. Yeah, watch it from the sidelines. Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty torn on NFT conferences. Even when I was in marketing, I was never too hot on conferences. Like, and especially in NFTs, a lot of the speakers, it's like, well, you can just go on Spaces any given week and listen to those same people. Like there's nobody who is speaking there that you can't go and watch like a million YouTube videos of them talking about the exact same thing. So I've always been torn on conferences. It's a great way to go and meet people in real life and make connections. But I don't know if it's really for me. Often these conferences end up with everybody getting COVID. So, I'm okay to skip them for a little while. And I think you can do a lot more damage from your desk. One person who wrote about that recently is Ryan Watt, who's the CEO of Polygon, who's the head of gaming at YouTube for 10 years. It's somebody I've been tracking a lot. And he had a similar opinion that helped cement my bias, was that he was like, I'd rather, spend those 4 days of a conference doing work in my desk and do a lot more damage that way than going and shaking hands. So, I think that's fair. I think NFT conferences need to evolve a little bit. I did see there were some like fun activations. Like I saw Jen Sudo got, there was like a Barbie booth because there's Barbie NFTs now. You stand in the Barbie booth and you take photos. Like, okay, sure. Like that's kind of fun. Sure. Maybe. I think an NFT conference, honestly, the best possible version of them is Ape Fest. And they haven't announced when there's going to be another Ape Fest, but honestly, to me, it should just be a music festival. Like that to me is the best thing.
It will
like,
be. It
just
will
bring
be.
in like that. I forget all these other NFT conferences, all this kind of shit. Like, or even something like, what South by Southwest is? South by Southwest?
Yes.
So it's basically it's like a music showcase and festival and a tech thing. And there's 1 week tech, 1 week music. And I think to me, like that's perfect. Maybe eventually NFTs Web3 can evolve into that, or compressed, where it's like it should be a 3-day weekend where during the day you can make connections, talk to people, visit booths, do all the work stuff, and at night, like you should go watch Rihanna or something like that, like a huge star. Like it should be a super fun banger concert at the end of the night. Like that to me is the best thing. Not I have to decide which party I'm gonna go to, like Cool Cats or a Moonbirds or 10KTF or a Zuki. Like, no, just combine all that shit, man. Somebody just put it on and get them to sponsor it, and then have each of them do a booth. Like it's not that important, honestly. So,
or a
those are my thoughts
Nifty's
there.
party where you have to drive like 45 minutes in an Uber.
Yeah, the Nifty's party way out in the middle of nowhere. For me, it wasn't Nifty's, it was Matrix. It was
the
specifically
Matrix
a
part.
Matrix. It wasn't even the rest of Nifty stuff. It was a Matrix party, is what it was. Oh, Phil, you've completely disappeared.
You like that? I'll look.
Yeah, he's gone. I could just see his teeth smiling.
I could turn on a light, but this is kind of my calling card. I've done.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on Veecon. We're almost at the end of the show. I do want to do some quick hits. Okay, and again, Phil, quick hits are not for you to honestly. You don't even need to comment.
I got it.
You know what? Your comment can only be 2 words. Okay,
2 words.
So I got to give you the story and you comment on it. Okay, we need some music for this part, like kind of like something kind of funny. Okay. The bowling awards. This just came out today that the bowling awards from the BPA, the Professional Bowling Association, will now be on-chain Avalanche NFTs, and they will go out to 300,000 league bowlers.
Absolutely pathetic.
Okay. Last week, in an interview with Decrypt, the head of Web3 for Adidas said that she thought she would get fired when they signed the Bored Ape deal.
I would say that has not happened. No.
God, boring comment. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But hold on. I didn't even get to ask you this in the last. So stop hot takes for quick second.
Yeah.
LG, whenever Ape Fest is announced and whenever it happens, I'm in the same area as you. I kind of hope it's like a festival or something, whatever. Here's the real question. This is a personal question. Is LG Doucette still eligible to get free entrance into Ape Fest?
Yeah, I still have my mutant. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sorry. The mutant ape. Absolutely.
Hopefully there's a +1 there.
There better be. Yeah.
So I don't have to ask Lorax again and his like 10 buddies to try and get me in every night. Begging people like, do you have an extra +1? Like, come on, please. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next quick hit. A company called Keep is releasing the game wallet, where it is a cartridge for an original Game Boy that pretty much acts as a cold wallet for your crypto.
Did not understand any part of that.
So you have a cold wallet for your crypto to keep your crypto safe, like a ledger. So they've done that, but it's instead it's a Game Boy cartridge. So you plug it into you plug it into your original Game Boy.
Oh, that's dope, man. I like that.
Yeah,
like
really
that.
cool.
That's cool. I'd love one of those. Yeah. Now I understand.
Okay.
You have to give me visuals on that.
And today, and last quick hit is International Bitcoin Pizza Day. Phil, do you know what that commemorates? Do you know what this celebrates?
No idea. Does it have anything to do with 99-cent pizza and the end of that in New York City?
No. So May 22nd is the day that we celebrate this. And I think it dates back to maybe like 2010 when a guy who owned a bunch of Bitcoin used it to buy pizza. And he went in the Bitcoin forums and told I want to pay for some pizza with Bitcoin. Whoever can order pizza to my house, I will pay you the same amount in Bitcoin. And he paid $41 worth of Bitcoin. And if he had held on to that, that would now be worth $250 million.
Oh, I did hear about this. I do know about this. I've heard this pizza story.
May 22nd is the day of that transaction, is the celebration of that transaction for Bitcoin enthusiasts all over the world.
But I heard the guy's okay with it though. Like he's not like depressed or anything.
Yeah.
I heard he's cool with it.
Yeah.
Like this is what I heard about this guy. So I don't know what else he did, but he seemed okay with it. I heard this story 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it comes back every year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Phil, let's move on to the hot take of the week. So for people who don't know, today is actually a holiday up here in Canada, and it's called Victoria Day.
Like the most boring one of all the holidays. It really is.
It's so irrelevant. And we celebrate Queen Victoria's birthday. Who's Queen Victoria? That's a great question.
Nobody
exactly.
knows.
So we asked you guys, though, what is Victoria Day in Canada? Wrong answers only. Phil, did you take a peek earlier?
Well, I was getting tagged, so I saw some of them, but I have no idea who said them, and I didn't see all of them. No.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some of the answers. Okay, and I'm going to tell you who said them. First answer: Celebrating the mother of the Confederation, a truly vicious and brutal mother who performed unspeakable acts, which is what it is.
Someone's pissed.
Someone's pissed. Someone's pissed at the monarch.
Someone's really pissed at this holiday. Okay.
Victoria Day is celebrated to remember Great Beaver War of 1894. Beavers need to be reminded who is in charge still, so Canada reminds them by eating their tails.
That's a good one. That is good. And for those who don't know, we have something called beaver tails here. And it's not actually beaver tails. Like, you don't eat the real beaver's tail. It's kind of like a pastry type deal that you put all sorts of, you can put Nutella on it, brown sugar, whatever you want. It's very, very popular, I guess, nationwide, right? But just for the record, LG, have you ever seen a beaver in your life?
Yes.
Like a real life beaver?
Yes.
Okay. I have never seen a real life beaver in my entire life. I've never seen a real moose, never seen a real beaver. All the classic Canadian kind of icon animals, aside from the Canadian geese, which Americans know very well, I have never seen any of those iconic Canadian animals. So,
Phil, you got to spend more time. You got to spend more time in the bush.
I do, but it's always the same thing. It's always the same damn animal. Like, I've seen porcupines and stuff, but yeah, deer. Like deer, I'm sick of deer, man. It used to be the biggest thing. Like, you'd smash through your window when you see a deer just because you're so excited. But now it's like, man, there's just a deer. I have them around my house. It's not exciting. Foxes, things like that. You remember, you were with us when I saw a bear for the first time. I'm freaking bonkers, man. I was dropping woes all over the place, and it was pretty exciting stuff. So
there's a bear
I
walked
like
through the
that
backyard the other night. There's a cub bear that walked through the backyard. Yeah, it's normal for me. Yeah. All right, next one. A day to honor the British Queen that the Brits don't give a rat's ass about.
Okay. The Brits don't even know about this.
That's true. Is it Victoria Day in England?
I don't know. No clue. Is there a holiday in the U.S. today? That's another question.
No, that's next week.
Is it Memorial Day?
That's Memorial Day is next week. Okay. It's the weekend after.
All right. I was going to say, there's no baseball games today. That's how I know.
Next answer. 'Tis the national day for honoring the poshiest of spices. The always classy, never trashy Mrs. Victoria Beckham. Phil's going to like that.
I was in love with her. I loved her so much back in the day because, I was obsessed with David Beckham, but I was also obsessed with her. So, actually, the tattoo on my back is the same as David Beckham's. It was inspired by David Beckham.
Whoa!
The big cross. Oh yeah, the big cross with the angel wings that go across your shoulder blades. That comes from that. So, yeah, I keep that as a finalist. I like that a lot. I like that because it has nothing to do with anything, and you could tell people that.
All right, Phil, we don't need a 10-minute. Phil, we don't need a 10-minute explanation for every answer. You don't need to.
Let me just finish that thought.
We're never going to get through them.
Is there that many? But hold on, just to finish the thought on that, you could tell everyone in the UK that that's what it's for, and they probably believe you. So I like that
one. That's true. That's actually a good point. Well, this next one's also similar. The Spice Girls were so popular in Canada that each member was granted a formal day of celebration. Victoria Day is the most popular because it's the only one that occurs during the good weather season. So Baby Spice Day is a different day.
No.
These were who posted this first? That I don't know. Anyways, okay.
I like the other one, anyways.
Few people know Victoria's Secret, and Canada honors the first person to discover it. Incidentally, his name was Victor, and he stumbled upon it watching Sex and the City because it was the only channel that had good reception on Victoria Island.
Did you rate that?
Nope.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Next one. It's the day everybody gets a free bag of tea.
Huh?
There's some random ones. A national holiday to remind Canada and the rest of the world that Vancouver is not, in fact, the capital of British Columbia. Because it's Victoria.
If you could see my face right now, you can't see it because I'm pitch black, but yeah, that's all you need to know.
It's a celebration of an old bag. I think a lot of Americans think that Victoria was like the recent queen.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. That's my finalist. That's in finalist.
Okay. Sure. When all the Americans' top models come out onto the runway in Ontario with Victoria's Secret on.
That's terrible. Next.
There was a war in 1494 where two nations battled for the right to yell out Victoria when there was a W.
You know, when The Price is Right, when it goes do 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 do.
Next one. I can't tell you. It's Victoria's Secret.
Oh, good Lord. I would love to try and guess who that one is. That's Jesus. Okay.
Victoria Day is the celebration of the day that Canadians were victorious in burning down the White House back in 1814, which did happen, but is not what Victoria Day is.
Okay. That's kind of a wrong answer, but not really. It's too much history in there.
That's all there is. Those are all the answers.
Okay. So the old bag one, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Victoria sporty. Was she sporty? Sporty Spice. I like the Sporty Spice one.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the Beaver Tails one.
Posh.
Oh shit, she was posh. Sporty was Sporty was the other one. Okay. So Posh Spice, old bag versus Beaver Tails.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since we're looking for wrong answers only,
mm-hmm.
and they're all wrong answers,
mm-hmm.
I have to eliminate anything that has to do with Canada. So Beaver Tails, I love the Beaver Tails answer, but it's out.
Yeah.
And you hear the fireworks? There's like major fireworks.
Oh, nice. You should get out there. Hurry up. You should get out there. Yeah.
There's some fireworks that just started. I'm gonna have to go because Spice Girls were such a part of my youth. I'm going with Posh Spice. I like that one. I like the old bag one because I like to call her an old bag, but I don't even know who Victoria is. So
the National Day for honoring poshiest of spices, the always classy, never trashy Miss Victoria Beckham, or the other one?
No, that one.
That one. Okay.
The one you just read.
Her too.
I like that one.
And this one is from the real Bernardo.
Oh, I hope it's not Paul.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Canadian people.
Yeah, famous Canadian people, unfortunately. Okay, the real Bernardo, congratulations. You have won this week's Hot Take of the Week. So make sure you message us for your prize. Phil D, go enjoy your fireworks. You're already in the dark anyways. You're already ready for get yourself a sparkler or something like that so we could see you next time, man. What a disgrace.
Taylor Swift concert. They wave their phones like this.
What do you think? It's 30 minutes. It's the end of the first quarter. What do you think the score is of the Lakers game?
Oh, I get those updates on my phone. Come on,
okay, forget it.
I saw it. I saw the Lakers are doing well. And like you said, it's there's one team that's going to at least take one game. It's probably them. I think
that people will definitely blindly believe that they can do it.
Absolutely, absolutely, they will. Yes, 100%. So
LeBron's moment, his redemption is already back up to $27 from 20.
Shut up! Are you serious? Just like that? Oh my god! People are.
I don't know if it's from this. I might. Let's see. I think the sales. A lot of sales happened around when the game started. Yeah.
People are crazy. What the hell, man? Honest to God. Holy
wow. Well, Phil D, another great episode. Enjoy your fireworks.
Happy Victoria Day.
Happy Victoria Day, everybody. And we'll see you next week on the First Mint.
Let's go, Leafs.